All right, hello everyone, and welcome to How to Train a Speedrunner, a show where we talk about how you can get into speedrunning by learning some very popular games. And today we have Fire Emblem Three Houses with Kirby Master. So, Kirby, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I think this cat's doing all right too. She's kind of pretty cute here.
That is a very cute cat, you know?
Yeah, it is a very cute cat. I think it's like a calico cat, but so it's probably female, but yeah, she's pretty cute.
Yeah. And before we get started here, I have just a couple of quick announcements for you. So AGDQ 2023 online is going to be January 8th to the 15th. You can go to gamesdonequick.com for more info about that. Game submissions are closed right now, but you can tweet at gamesdonequick and let us know what you're hoping to see on the schedule. And I want to remind all of our viewers on YouTube, as we get towards 1 million subscribers on YouTube, feel free to press that follow button if you are not following the GDQ channel on YouTube. And, you know, if you're watching on Twitch right now, feel free to go over there as well. But yeah, besides that, Kirby, I have just a couple of questions for you while we get into this Fire Emblem Three Houses tutorial. You know, what kind of made you get into this game, and what made you want to learn the speedrun for it?
So it's kind of funny. So, okay. This goes all the way back to like 2012 or something, where I learned to speedrun Radiant Dawn, which is the first Fire Emblem I've ever speedrun. And I learned how to speedrun that from Beacon12, who did a really old, impressive, segmented speedrun of it back on Speed Demos Archive, which is like over 10 years ago. A lot of people probably haven't heard of it at this point, but... And then, like, that was a lot of work to learn, because, like, speedrunning Fire Emblem was... At the time, like, speedrunning RPGs and stuff was all about the strategies and not the execution, which, obviously, like, there's a lot of execution nowadays, but, like, back then, it was kind of, like, a lot more about a demonstration of the route. But Beacon's run that motivated me to learn, his old segmented run, was really focused on, like, the fast menuing, the fast pacing of all the bases, the optimizations of the menuing, and so on. And that really impressed me, and it was what got me into speedrunning Fire Emblem as a whole. So the funny story is, the first time I played this game, so Fire Emblem is really fun to speedrun because like all the menus are like super snappy and like really fun, and you kind of just feel yourself going fast because it's like a visual strategy game, the grid-based game. And then when the moment I touched this game, I was like, I'm never speedrunning this game, because this game is a huge lag fest. Like, this game is the Donkey Kong 64 of the Nintendo Switch, and I am not exaggerating. This game is a giant glitch fest of a lack of... This game is horribly optimized. But I ended up still loving the game to death after playing it several times casually, and I'm like, okay, I can look past the really, really horrible input delay and the menus and the lag, because that's worth putting up with to speedrun. Yeah, no, I just love this game so much. And like, I love the cast, I love the characters, and like the speedrun itself is, like, a lot of people might be intimidated by speedrunning, like learning how to speedrun a Fire Emblem game or something, because it's like, oh, it's a strategy RPG game, you have to learn how to math everywhere. And like, routing is a different story, but like, just to dip your toes into it, it's very it's a pretty darn scripted speedrun overall. Like, if you follow a path, there's a guy that like teaches you like all the benchmarks, all of the backups, but like for the most part, it's a relatively simple speedrun, all things considered. So, and that's what I'm here for, just to help step viewers through like what a speedrun looks like when done slowly, what's actually going on behind the scenes, what to do if you get stat screwed, which I probably will.
Nah, you won't. It'll be fine. Don't worry about that.
But that's perfectly a-okay. So the reason why I have this file opened is because, well, as I alluded to, this game is not very well optimized at all. So before you start a set of attempts, you always want to load up a file in this monastery here before a set of attempts. You can see the lag, it's just very disgusting. Because at the start of a run, you'll like end up here, and if you don't open up a file in the monastery, then you will lose about 10 seconds to getting doored here, because this door will just block you for like 10 to 15 seconds. So you want to make sure you load up this file before a set of attempts, basically. Just to help guarantee that this will not happen. And like, if you watch my streams, like, I will always start a stream just like opening up like 3 different files just to make sure everything's cached properly so I don't have as much loads. You don't have to go that far unless you're like at a top level, but just opening up the monastery to avoid getting doored here is enough to get you started. Other thing to get you started Definitely play a digital version if you can. Although, like, again, if you're not going for like the world record, it's not that big of a deal. And even more so, you want to make sure you're playing it on the internal switch memory, which you can do with the option here, move data between system and micro SD card, to help minimize the amount of loads, because no one likes downtime. But if you don't, then that's also okay, because like ultimately speedrunning is about having fun, and if you only have the physical version, then it's perfectly fine. You'll probably lose several minutes, but like as long as you're not trying to go for a top time, that doesn't really matter too much.
Especially when you're just getting started.
Yeah, especially when you're just getting started. Like, if you're just getting started, your time is not gonna beat the top time, and that's perfectly okay. Everyone starts somewhere. So, hey. All right, so do we want to actually get started? I just kind of went over like the setup, making sure you open this file, trying to see if you have a digital version. Oh, you can soft reset this game by pressing LR plus minus on a Switch Pro controller. Like that.
Very good to know. Before we do get started, in the category section here, it says Crimson Flower / Black Eagles. Is that something you want to explain now, or are you going to get into that later on in the run?
Yes, I will explain it now. Thank you for bringing it up, because that's actually very important to mention. So this game is advertised for having like 3 different houses you can pick, and like the entire game changes depending on who you pick. So there are actually 4 different routes, because one of the houses has a route split halfway through. Crimson Flower, Azure Moon, Verdant Wind, and Silver Snow. Or the corresponding house names are Black Eagles, Blue Lions, Golden Deer, and the Church of Saros. The Blue Lions and the Black Eagles are by far the most reliable in terms of luck. And the other two they have so much that can go wrong, especially Silver Snow. So like those are not beginner friendly in terms of like from a luck perspective. And I'm going to be doing the Black Eagles route because it's the shortest, and also, as much as I said it kind of ties the Blue Lions in terms of reliability and luck purposes, is also Crimson Flower route is probably the less complicated of the two. Like you don't have to worry as much about like backups and stuff like that. Because in the Blue Lions run, you have to learn 4 different variations of a fast run in the very first chapter, and that's not exactly very beginner friendly, don't you think?
That is fair. Definitely understandable.
So yeah, so shall we get started? I've never been on this show. I think we have a timer. We do have a timer going. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
We do have a timer. It is running. We will just restart it when you start time, though. So
we'll just keep it going. It's fine. All right. So want to make sure that you want to hit new game. If you beat in the game before on your Switch profile, you'll probably get some new game plus stuff. This is not a new game plus run. Say no. You can also just press B. Speedruns are typically, there do exist speedruns on hard and maddening mode. Standard is normal, and trust me, you want to speedrun on normal. There is a lot that can go wrong in an easy difficulty. You pick normal, and you want to pick classic, which is the opposite of what I just said, because casual mode means units can never permanently die. Classic mode is strictly faster because you want units to permanently die. That's a little bit of foreshadowing, FYI. So the standard is normal classic. And then the actual timer starts when you hit no on connect to the network and play online. So we'll just go ahead and dive in. Say no. And then, yep. So you have these animated cutscenes typically. So you skip them. You want to press plus, left A. Every time you see one of these menus here, a yes or no menu, you can actually buffer it. So like you can just hold left. I'm holding left right now. And press plus, and it automatically goes over to the yes, and then you can just press A. So every time you see me do a yes or no input, you can just buffer the input by holding left or right beforehand. And you have there's a lot of unskippable cutscenes in this game, and the fastest way to skip through them is just alternating A, B a lot, for the most part. So that's what you want to do. And your first decision is to pick male or female Byleth. Female Byleth is strictly faster in every single route, save for with one exception, so you always want to go female. I'll get into why later, but it has something to do with a character that will join you because he's a player. And next dialogue, you want to pick the bottom option. Top 2 don't proceed the story, so you can just hold the down button and press A. And you can just keep pressing A, B, A, B, A, B a lot. Oh wait, right, we have a name. You typically want to just go with the default because this is all part of the time. So you want to hit the plus button and hit yes, but we'll have a little bit of fun here. So let's call this Kittymon, after Nuclear's amazing cat. Perfect, 8 characters, awesome. We'll call her Kittymon, but I'll probably call her Byleth a lot because that's her canon name.
That's
Is Kittymon correct? Okay, fine, that's the real name.
Definitely.
And now you have the birthday prompt. So in every route, you want to do month 12, day 1. This is the only route where you want to do month 11, day 1 instead. Because if you do the default month, you're actually gonna get birthday presents, and that costs time. You will still get a birthday present no matter what, but this game's split into part 1 and 2. And part 2, you start from month 1 onward. So if you pick month 1, you'll get a birthday present twice. So you want to do month 11. Oh yeah, this route also starts from month 12 in part 2. So if you pick month 12, you'll get birthday presents twice. So you want to pick month 11 to avoid that. So month 11, day 1. Oh yeah, and
speaking of birthdays, Kirby Master has a birthday at some point this year, so go to twitch.tv/KirbyMaster/subscribe and go subscribe. At some point, Kirby Master in the next year will have a birthday.
Alright, yeah, so and for skippable cutscenes, you want to just mash the plus button or the start button, so, yep. Obviously, you want to just skip every save, and then we'll dive into the first map. The game kind of just throws you in to an actual map after the initial cutscenes, which is kind of cool. Get used to the screen, by the way. So right off the bat, we're going to have a prologue. You want to mash start or A to kind of skip all that.
Let's take.
Okay, and then when you see any dialogue like this, you can just press the B button and skip it. So now we have our actual map, and the majority of maps, the objective of most maps is to defeat the boss. And the boss is up here. I'm gonna kind of assume that people kind of know how Fire Emblem plays. I won't go through every single little detail on how to play it, but if you do have questions in chat, then feel free to ask. The first thing you want to do is go straight to your options. So select an empty tile, press A, and go straight to your options, and you want to do off, fast, on. So you want to turn off your animations, fast battle speed, and action skip on. This basically means skip everything. Skip all enemy phases, and you'll see it behind a black screen. And then the last option, so that's pretty much you want to press right. So this is where the default options are. You want to press right once on the top 4 options, basically. So like that. And the last one is automatic cursor. This is a little bit of personal preference. If this is on, then every time your turn starts, it'll go back to your leader, your main character. If you have it to off, it'll go back to where your cursor last was. Most people go with off, especially because it lets you end turn more quickly, repeatedly, and also your main character Violet will actually not be the main carry in the last third of the run. So you want the cursor to go back to your other carry later on. But personal preference, most people use off, so you want to set this to off typically. Okay. So right off the bat, we want to just kill this guy right in the way. So you want to select Violet. And there are 2 different ways you can select enemies. You can either move to the tile, then select attack. Which is fine. That's actually the old style of selecting enemies, but the faster way to do it, which you want to do more often, is to select the enemy themselves, and then select what you want to attack with. And then the game will just move you for you. So basically, you typically want to move by selecting the enemy as opposed to move, then attack. And that usually requires 2 extra inputs. So you want to start off selecting the enemy, and you want to press ZL or Z. You can tell from the battle forecast, I'm not actually going to kill him. But this game has something called combat arts, which you can cycle between the ZL, ZR button. So you conveniently barely one-shot him with this combat art called Wrath Strike. You can also do it with the slow way by selecting the tile, combat arts, Wrath Strike, but that takes 2 extra inputs. So you typically want to just do that. Alright, cool. Mash B through that, and end turn. We're not going to bother with anyone else. Just not bother with anyone else. So you want to mash B through that text, and then we want to move Byleth 1 right, 3 up, and do nothing, end turn. And then we actually want to move Byleth to this tile because we want Byleth to get some extra experience in the prologue, and that's going to be important later. So we're going to move her here and just wait. And what's going to happen is that 2 of these enemies will attack her, and she'll counterattack both of them on enemy phase, which you'll see behind a black screen. Well, you won't see behind a black screen. So yeah, no. So you can see that these 2 guys attacked her. She's weakened. That's fine. Then you want to move up to this tile up here, and then you want to heal yourself. This, again, you can see all this in a guide. We have a guide on speedrunner.com. This is actually a pretty recent strat, though. All right, so we got our first Kittymon level up. That is not a fantastic level up, but basically every time you level up, every stat has a random chance to go up. You want strength. Strength and defense are very important. We got neither, unfortunately. But it's only one level up, so we can make do. And the last thing you want to do is go to this tile, which will aggro all 3 of these enemies. If things go perfectly, we will weaken all 3 of them and get some extra experience. If things go poorly, we'll die. But you want to go ahead and heal up here. There's actually a chance we can die, by the way, right here. A small chance, but it might just happen here because it's funny. Okay, we did not die. Cool. Okay, that is not that's a defense level up, but we got no strength so far, so can't be helped. And then we just want to kill Costas. So again, the thing we want to do to kill him, to kill an enemy, is you want to select your unit and then select your target. You don't want to select the tile to move to if you can help it. So pick him, then just attack. Sometimes you'll be at higher HP because we fail to double attack him, which is determined by your speed stat. And if he has more health, you just do another rat strike with the ZLZR button. In this case, we don't need to, so we can skip that and kill him. And we'll hit level 4. You won't necessarily always hit level 4, but it's nice if you do, because you get to see a 3rd level up before the end of the prologue. And then we can go ahead and skip these cutscenes. Again, you can hold the left button to buffer the yes. And just keep skipping, 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 skipping. And skip. And yeah, there we go. So that's the prologue. There's a small chance you can die. It's not super rare it can happen, but it usually happens like twice per stream for me, out of like several attempts. And now we just have a bazillion cutscenes to skip through. So you just want to keep matching plus, 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 plus. Skip saves. So yeah, since we have just a lot of downtime, and we're about to approach some of the longest load screens in the game, can kind of go over some of the stats that Byleth has. So like I mentioned before, the most important stats are strength and defense, and we got one of those, which is fine. Byleth typically has a 45% chance to get strength. So each time she levels up, you have roughly a coin flip's chance to get strength. And defense is a 35% chance. So it's roughly a 1/3 chance to get defense. You want as much of both as possible, especially strength. Other stats are fine. I'm not going to go into too much detail over them because they're not super necessary, but strength and defense are the big ones we're looking for. They're not bad level ups. Like they're not bad level. Like we got 1 strength out of 3. Like there's only so much variance with only 3 level ups. 1 out of 3 defense is average. 1 out of 3 speed is okay. It's not bad. So now we're in our first monastery segment. What you want to do immediately, every time you enter the monastery, you want to press plus to zoom in the camera. Why? Lag reduction. And ideally, you also want to like hold the B button to run. You also want to point the camera down to reduce lag. So like I'm actually using like a claw grip because I have a finger on the B button, a finger on my right analog stick, and I have a finger on the A button so I can get ready to talk to anyone. And then I also sometimes have a finger to press the plus button. You don't need to do that, all of that if you don't want to. Kind of a top level kind of thing. Not everyone does it. So you can just like hold the B button, zooming in the camera and just holding the B button is typically good enough. So first thing you want to do, talk to Rhea. She's right here. And then you quest, accept. This quest is just talk to all 3 house lords, the other main characters in the game. And you want to just run backwards like this. So when you're looking at the ground or zoomed in, it's kind of hard to see where you're going. Conveniently enough, there is a mini-map in the upper right corner. You kind of see it, so you want to just run south and up to this yellow dot right here. So you just kind of want to mash A until you hit the yellow dots. Okay, so now we just want to keep running south according to the mini menu. And then you kind of see on the mini-map that there's a notepad, kind of. That's Edelgard, the Black Eagles. She's going to be our other main character, so you want to talk to her. Just smash B. And then you want to run this way, and then turn right. Go run to the door. This is the door I'm talking about. If we didn't open up a monastery safe earlier, we'd lose about 10 seconds here because loads. Want to run this way to Claude. Again, typically, if I were speedrunning this series, I'd be running like this. And I would just use the mini-map, but I'm not going to do that for teaching purposes because it's kind of important for everyone to see where the heck I'm actually going. We'll talk to Claude.
I think we appreciate that.
Yeah. And then run this way, talk to Dimitri. There's a lot of NPCs here. You have to be careful not to run into them, which if you're fast enough, you're not going to see them because the game's still loading them. So you have to like be wary to like avoid them so you don't lose time running into them, and they're invisible.
Accept my apology.
But the one NPC we do want to run into is Church and Sarge here, who has returned and will be taking over the hosting duties. From me, I will be running tech. So good luck with the rest of the run, Kirby. And yeah, here is Church.
Hi, sorry I'm late. Thank you so much, Richard. You're the best.
Welcome back. I also just realized I made a really big mistake already. I made a really big mistake because I got caught up in like explaining stuff. Okay, thankfully we have another save, but thankfully we have a save. But like, okay, so this is where you pick your house. You want to just press A, mash here. Oh yeah, this game also has like an auto feature like this, where you can just hold B. It is very slow. I think they were. This game was very much. What's it called? Motivated after like Persona 5, and I guess this is their way of having like a dialogue skip. But it's so slow that you're better off mashing. So the one thing I forgot to do is the one thing that's kind of more complicated in this route is that you actually need to get a support with Edelgard, the other house lord in this game. I forgot to talk to her in the prologue. So that's okay though. I have another save, so that's no big deal. But yeah, the first thing you want to do in the prologue before options is to talk to her. Like talk to her. That's very important. You have to talk to her. So don't forget that. The guide has all of that information, by the way. So like the first thing the guide will say is like make sure you talk to Edelgard after like change your options. I'll still keep going with this a little bit until the next actual map, which I thankfully have another save for, so we can just dive into that. All right, so this is the calendar system. We're gonna skip as much of it as possible, so you just don't worry about it. So we're kind of in a huge tutorial segment. Like the first 3-4 maps in the game take about 1/3 of the run. That's kind of how front-loaded the tutorials are. And now we're in the monastery, so you kind of want to just run this way, turn left. Remember to zoom in the camera, and then talk to Edelgard right here. And that's it. So now you want to end the day. So you can kind of see the L prompt in the bottom left corner, finish exploring. You want to hit L, yes. And every time you go through the monastery calendar, you want to hit the plus button to fast forward through it. And there's also like a lot of events on the calendar, like it's just Ferdinand von Ari's birthday. You want to just mash B through most of them, typically, so. And then now we're actually on to our first mission. So the first thing you want to do is not skip this cutscene. We do not want to skip this cutscene because we need support points with Edelgard. So skip that, don't skip this, mash A, pick the top option, and that's 5 points. Now we skip it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a soft reset again because I actually forgot to talk to her at the prologue, which is 4 support points. Or I can just do a backup. No, yeah, I can teach how to do a backup as well. It'll work out. But yeah, you're supposed to talk to her in the prologue, but there are backups in case you miss some support points early on, so it's not the end of the world. And now we're on our first actual map. That's not a tutorial map. So right off the bat, what we want to do is, this is like probably the most involved map in the speedrun because like, basically you want to one-man as much as possible. You want to like just carry the entire map with just one unit that's super and broken and have everyone else kind of support that unit. But our main character, Byleth, hasn't really gotten that yet. She hasn't snowballed yet, so we can't just like solo this entire map with her. So like this is definitely one of the most involved maps in pretty much the entire speedrun because we kind of actually have to use our entire team. So the speedrun strat for this map is to deselect Linhardt, select Caspar, then go up to Edelgard, press the X button, then press A, and then we want to go right and take this sword right here from Petra. And like if you see it in a speedrun, you can do all of that in like 1 second. But just going through it a bit slowly. And then that's it. We start the battle by pressing plus, hold the left button to buffer the yes input. Okay. So as usual, you want as much as possible to happen behind a black screen. So this game has an auto battle function, and a lot of times we're going to use charge or unites. They're kind of self-explanatory. Charge makes the AI move all of your units as far forward as possible to be really aggressive. Unite automatically moves everyone around your main character, Byleth. 2 very useful abilities that are just really fast. So we're just gonna go ahead and do an auto battle charge. I'll turn off action skip for now, just so like check and see what the heck's going on. But for now, we're just gonna charge. Nothing's gonna happen here. Everyone just moves forward. And all of this happens behind a black screen, but what's gonna happen here is we wanna kill everyone in the map. So typically speaking, that's gonna happen, that's normal. Then Lawrence is gonna attack Byleth, and we counter Lawrence, and that's normal too. And then Ignatz does nothing, he can't reach any of us. So this is the kind of the normal formation. Like if everything goes smoothly, nothing really happens here. He's at full HP, he's at full HP, he's at part HP. So the first thing you wanna do is pick Ferdinand von Ayer, and you wanna move him to this tile. And finish Lawrence with a combat art called Tempest Lance. Again, you can change the combat art with the ZL, ZR buttons. But the faster way to do it, of course, is to pick the unit like this, and then cycle through the combat arts like that. We start with that. Next, we move Hubert, and then we want to like select Ignatz here. That will make the AI automatically move him to the tile to lower and to the right of Ignatz. So just do that. He has a chance of missing. If he misses, you reset. There's no backup for it. And then from here on out, assuming everything goes smoothly, you want to do an auto battle charge, and that'll make Byleth finish off Ignatz, Edelgard, and Caspar finish off Ash, assuming everything goes smoothly. So all of this will happen in like less than a second. I'm just kind of playing it out so people can actually see what's going on. And nothing happens on this turn, so we can just skip it. Now, on turn 3, we want to move Byleth to this tile here, which is barely in range of the next enemy unit. You can kind of see the red line, Tetris 99 red line. That's kind of the game saying, oh, this AI is going to try to do this, and that's exactly what we want to do. Move Byleth here. She will sometimes be weakened. If she is, deal with the vulnerary. And then we want to just do an auto battle charge. Nothing happens here. Everyone just kind of goes around Byleth.
Are you really going to fight?
And then you can kind of see everyone moving. That's normal. If Byleth got extra speed, she would double attack Dudu. Again, speed's a stat that allows you to double attack. But if she doesn't, that's fine, not a big deal. So the next thing you want to do is move Caspar up here and just do nothing. Yes, he's gonna die, that's expected. And then you want to, if Dudu, this guy right here, if he's really low on HP, then just just move Ferdinand von Ayer here and don't do anything. If he's at like half HP, which he is in this case, you want Ferdinand von Ayer to move up here and smack him with a Tempest Lance to lower him. And now you can kind of see he's at low HP now. So the next step is to have Edelgard attack Mercedes here with a sword. And then now we want to just do another auto battle, which will make Byleth attack Mercedes and Hubert attack Dudu. And again, every time you see me do an auto battle, this should happen behind a black screen and happen in like less than a second. Just letting it play out so you can kind of see what's going on. And there we go. So now Dimitri's gonna take out Caspar for us. Caspar's role is to be literally bait. That's it. So that's it. So Caspar is gone. He's dead. That's okay. This is a mock battle, so no one's actually dead. So now we want to make sure we kill Dimitri. So we want to have Hubert weaken Dimitri with magic. Do that. Move Edelgard up here. This will lure Claude over. And we want Byleth to go finish off Dimitri here. And again, we want Byleth to get as much experience as possible. That's what this route is kind of designed around. Just trying to go fast while giving Byleth as much experience as possible so she can snowball. And then move Ferdinand von Ayer up here. Nothing of interest is really going to happen here. Those red units are just going to keep moving towards us. All right. We want to move Ferdinand von Ayer to this tile. Have Edelgard move to this tile and then attack Claude like this. Hubert move to this tile. And then Byleth wants to go attack Claude with a Wrath Strike. Again, combat art, use the ZL, ZR buttons to cycle.
Coming out with,
Boom. That's a good level up. And now what should happen is Hilda should attack Hubert from at range there, and that's normal, and she should get weakened. And then Manuela will attack Ferdinand von Ayer, that's normal too. This is expected, so now we finish her off with a Tempest Lance, combat art, boom. Auto battle. auto battle charge. That will make Bile kill Manuela. And then we're gonna do another auto battle charge again, so that we finish off the last unit on the map, Hanneman. Now, before I do an auto battle, notice how much experience, if you look at the experience bar up here, notice how much experience Hubert has, and how much experience Ferdinand von Meyer has. They are very close to a level up. That's intentional. Level ups on your flunkies are bad. We do not want level ups if we aren't using these units long term, because each level up costs you 4.5 seconds, and that's a lot of time loss. So if something goes wrong, like if Ferdinand von Meyer needs to smack someone extra, or Hubert has to get an extra kill because someone missed, you're losing a lot of time because you got an extra level up that you don't want. All right, and the last thing to note is we absolutely want to make sure Edelgard never levels up, ever. Like, we do not want her to level up. I'll explain why in part 2, but we want to make sure she stays at level 1. So like, we also want to make sure we minimize experience that she gets. All right, auto battle, Bile should kill Hanneman for us. There we go. The game's like, oh, your inventory is full, toss something out. I'll go ahead and toss this Iron Sword out. We want to make sure that we toss out the Iron Sword with lower uses. This one has 20. That one is 36, so throw out the 20 use one. So this chapter is relatively scripted. There's a lot of like things that can go, there's definitely a lot of things that can go wrong. I'm not gonna go over every single little detail of it. The guide has that, like all the little variations. It's either you do this backup or you reset. But like the speedrunners overall is pretty scripted for the most part, so you don't have to worry too much about that. With a few exceptions, but yeah. So that's the first actual battle. I'm definitely the most involved, because like one of the most involved ones. Most of the rest of the maps are pretty straightforward. But if things go well, you'll probably finish this map in around the 6-minute mark, 5 to 6 minute mark on the timer. All right, so now we're on chapter 2. And again, every chapter has kind of like a calendar segment like this, where every weekend you kind of go to the monastery, you can grind if you want, and so on. Obviously, almost all of that's slow, so you just want to skip everything. We're kind of still in tutorial mode, so we're kind of forced to do some like monastery stuff. So in this case, we have to explore. And we have to do a few mandatory quests. So again, remember, zoom in the camera. You want to run this way, and then talk to Geralt here. He's your dad. In my opinion, he's a terrible dad, but I'll leave the spoilers for later. So you want to accept this quest. It's a mandatory quest. You have to do it. Also, make sure you talk to Geralt. Do not talk to Leonie, because they have the exact same dialogue, but you cannot activate the quest if you talk to her. So make sure you talk to Geralt instead. And then we're gonna run all the way this way. Ideally, you want to keep running like this, but just so chat actually sees where I'm running, I'm not going to do that. For reference, running like this without pointing the camera down, all the way up to that point, lost me over 1 second compared to pointing the camera down like that. So that's how much lag reduction there is in this game with stuff like this. So you just want to keep running in this direction until you hit the cutscene here. And that's important because that lets you warp to these 2 spots later on, which is actually going to be important later on. So we're just running down here because it's the best time to unlock the warp points for later. For now, we want to go ahead and warp to the Officers Academy right here. To do that, you want to press the R button. You can kind of see the UI in the bottom right corner. Map, left, right, Officers Academy, pick that. And you want to run this way, around the corner, and talk to Edelgard here, because this is pretty much just more mandatory tutorial stuff. Nothing really interesting is going on besides running around. So we're gonna warp to the 2nd floor up here. And this is all kind of stuff you can just learn from just watching a run. Nothing weird or fancy. Grab that, and now we finished all the mandatory quests, so now we can do finish exploring. Yes, we're done. And now this is the game teaching you how to teach your students various skills. So like, how do I go over this? So for those less familiar with the game, you can kind of see all the skills on the right side that everyone can learn, like swords, lances, axes, bows, brawling, etc., etc. And then you can kind of like go into this fancy menu here where you can kind of pick a character and just, based off of how motivated they are, you can like give them skills in each, we'll give them points in each skill. That is really slow. We do not want to do that. So we're just gonna first go to goals, pick Edelgard, and you want to pick axe and armor. We want her to have as much axe rank as possible, and we also want her to learn weight -3. so she gets more speed in part 2. Then tap R 3 times to Linhardt, and we want to pick Faith, none. And that's how he learns a really important spell later on as quickly as possible, because he learns Warp at A Faith, and he's not going to be able to learn that for a while. And that's all we want to do, is ignore everyone else. Begin lecture. And then you will randomly get a lecture question from one of your 8 students. You want Edelgard or Linhardt, otherwise you lose 10 seconds. We got lucky on a not serious speedrun. So we got Linhardt. And so like these options have like a best answer, a neutral answer, and a bad answer. You're gonna notice a pattern where you want to be as terrible of a teacher as possible. So we're gonna give the worst answer, which is bottom for Linhardt. I'm not gonna go every single possible combination. You can find it all in the guide. Basically, you want to be a horrible teacher. Half of the Black Eagle students' worst answers are bottom. So if you don't want to, if you haven't memorized all of them, you can just default to the bottom, and chances are you'll probably get the worst answer. It's not a big deal if you get a good answer or a neutral answer. It's just minor time save, because if you give them a good answer or a neutral answer, you'll watch like an animation of them getting motivated, which is bad because that's time loss. Okay, we're still in tutorials. We have to pick battle on this weekend, and the game's basically like, oh, you can do practice battles and grind. Practice battles are just grinding battles, basically. This one's mandatory, and thank goodness we have to do this, because this is where we get to really start having our Byleth snowball. Because like we want to like carry with one unit as much as possible, basically. And this is where the experience from early on actually matters a lot, because our goal in this auxiliary battle is to get Byleth to level 10. And the reason for that is that you can unlock intermediate classes once you hit level 10. And that's really important because we really want to become a thief for a really fast clear of chapter 2. So we want to just deselect everyone else and then just solo with Byleth. So just move into this tile. I'm just going to skip every enemy phase because nothing interesting is going to happen except for a bunch of level ups. We're just fighting everything here from this tile and just killing everything. And of course, we want to see some good level ups. That's a very good level up. Again, we want to see as much strength and defense as possible. Other stats are fine, but strength and defense are the big important ones. And you just keep ending turn until turn 4. If you're like really low in health, be sure to heal. We're nowhere close to dying, so we're fine. And just watch Byleth kill everything, or don't. That's a good level up. Battalions I'll go over later. Don't worry about it for now. And this is turn 5. Yeah, this is turn 5, where you'll know it's turn 5 when you see this boss like right here with the little metal icon you can kind of see. And in this case, we want to move Byleth to this tile or this tile, one of these two. If you want to heal, move her to this tile and just heal. If you don't need to heal, move her to this tile. The reason why is because if you move her to this tile, the item menu is kind of a lot lower. Whereas if you go here, the item menu is at the top. And since I'm not a full HP and I want to play a little safe, I'll just go ahead and heal. And then after this turn, we should kill everything and hit level 10. That level's not great. So, yep. And level 10, there we go. But that level's alright. The least useful stats by far are definitely charm, resistance, and speed. Those are like the stats you don't care about anymore. Speed's important early game, but it's a lot. But like once you're past chapter 2, speed's almost irrelevant for Byleth. So speed is not an important stat anymore. It helps you dodge a little bit, but like that's not something you want to rely on, so it's not a big deal. Charm is not relevant for the speedrun. Resistance is what it sounds like. It's your magic resist, magic defense, which you barely face any, so it's not a big deal. All the other stats are useful, so.
As long as it makes. I think I grasped. I'm closing.
And now we're still on the same map because we're still going through a lot of tutorials. All right, so now this is a games tutorial teaching you how to use seminars. This is the feature that casuals will never ever use because like, why would you ever bother doing seminars when you can explore and get way more out of it? But in this case, this is forced, so we're gonna go ahead and do a seminar with Manuela because this will give Byleth sword rank and Linhardt faith rank. Both very important. We want to sword rank because we want to hit C swords, which we just did now.
Practice.
Because C swords is required to have a 100% success rate to become a thief. The thief class, I should say. Okay. So we're now on the date where we're actually doing a chapter for once. But before we actually enter the mission, we want to do a little bit of inventory management. So like, you can kind of see a lot of menus here: items, abilities, combat arts, battalions for E-class. You want, whenever you're doing one of these menus from the base, you want to do it from the monastery, because the menus are just a lot faster here. So when you want to start with items, toss everything with Byleth. So you want to pick Byleth, store all, and then do the same thing with Bernadetta, Caspar, and Ferdinand von Eyre. So this unit, that unit, that unit, and that unit. Just because we want them to have no weapons. Then we go to the armory, so we go to the marketplace, armory, buy Byleth. Then we want to buy the steel gauntlets and iron gauntlets. And then last but not least, we go to the certifications, Byleth, and then we go to intermediate. Since you can kind of see us red circle because we hit level 10, so now we can become a thief. And the thief is a really important class because it gives us more mobility, which is very important in speedrun. And the other thing to note is that it allows you to move through forests without any movement penalty. So, and that's pretty much going to be your main class for the majority of part 1. Funnily enough. So you're teaching your students how to become a thief. And the convenient thing about the thief is that it gives you +2 dexterity, +2 speed as well. Speed's not that relevant. Dexterity is nice because each dexterity gives you hit, and hit's very important. So, yep. And then match B, and now we have our actual map. You want to go to units, deselect Linhardt, and I'll just make a save just in case something goes wrong. And then we fight. Yes, we are deploying almost everyone else on this map.
So this is.
So this map is a defeat boss map, so we need to go all the way up and bonk this guy. And there's a lot of enemies in the way. So I'll just kind of, so like, I'm not gonna go through all the mechanics of this map. Basically, I'll just like step through what I'm doing. I'm gonna go ahead and move Byleth up here and unequip her so she kills nothing. We wanna move Dorothea, this lady here, move her up and unequip her because she has magic equipped. Wait. And then we want to move Hubert to this tile, unequip him so he doesn't attack anything, and wait. And we end turn. And I'm just gonna skip this because nothing happens. All right. Now we want to pick Edelgard, kind of throw her in this corner here and unequip her too. We're gonna pick Byleth, move her up. And then you want to do an auto battle unites. That'll just bring all of your students up towards Byleth. So nothing interesting, so I'll just skip that. Oh, he died. Rip. Ow. Alright. Next turn, throw Edelgard in the corner here. We want to move Byleth to this tile here. Not this tile, but this tile, because we want to aggro this nerd here and bring him towards us. And make sure we're not equipped. If you're kind of weakened though, at some point in this map you want to go to your convoy and grab an iron bow because we want 2 range later on. And then grab 2 vulneraries. And then unequip and heal. You can do this on a turn earlier. You just want to make sure you're not actually equipped, because you don't want to kill anything yet. Then auto battle unites. Just have everyone move towards us. We're taking some hits. Our defense is 8, which is 1 below average, so it's not great. Okay, well, rip that student. Okay, and now we move Byleth up here. And again, and now at this point we equip her. And then heal if you need to. Because now all of our students are in range of all of these enemies. I'm not gonna go into why we want that to happen. Yeah. I won't go into too much detail. You're kind of seeing what's going on. Boom. I'll go ahead and skip that. We're just pretty much just punching everything in the way enemy face. Nothing interesting is happening. And pretty much, we just kind of want to keep moving towards the boss while the rest of our students are expelled from school, to put it kindly. Okay, I'm gonna move her here. You can choose to move Byleth up here if you want to. That's technically faster. I choose to move right here because I want to get her some more brawling experience. And we'll get another round of combat from this guy. Okay, this is preferred because now everyone besides Edelgard and Byleth is dead. This is what you want. If any students are alive, you have to burn some turns and keep waiting until they're dead. But since everyone else is dead, we're just gonna go ahead and punch the boss. Punch him in the face. We missed. Cool. That's a 98% chance to miss. To hit. So that was a 2% chance to miss. Of course, it happens though.
Thank you.
And there we go. You might be noticing a trend. You want to be a horrible teacher. And the reason why this is why classic mode is so much faster because if you have each student you keep alive is an extra lecture question, which costs 10 seconds on part 1 and another 10 seconds in part 2. On top of that, every time you skip through the calendar, every student is guaranteed to learn something because the game just keeps dumping skill points into them, and you can't avoid that. So you're losing several seconds every single month for more students learning more and more stuff. So it's just way faster to just kill them off and just not deal with the time loss. So we're gonna skip this cutscene. Do not skip the next one.
On our way out.
Pick the bottom option. I did, and then skip. That's plus 5 support points. Very important.
So you.
Okay, thankfully we're kind of getting close to wrapping up the early game tutorials, and we'll just start blitzing through this speedrun tutorial, I guess. If you have any questions, Church or chat, feel free to ask. It's gonna be quite a bit of downtime coming up, but the next 2 chapters are pretty straightforward for the most part. I can go into a little bit of detail on the support stuff. So the Crimson Flower route's kind of supposed to be the secret route where you side with Edelgard instead of betraying her. And to do that, you need to get a C+ support with her, which requires 200 support points. So the Crimson Flower speedrun is kind of based around trying to get those support points as efficiently as possible. So we're actually going to get another 5 support points here by celebrating her birthday here on the 22nd, so keep that in mind. For now, we're going to go ahead and do an explore, run to this bulletin board, pick bolstering forces, and fast travel. We cannot fast travel here unless we've unlocked the greenhouse, which is what we did the last monastery. So which is why we ran all the way down here. So ran all the way down here, so we can just warp to here. We're gonna go ahead and talk to this very not suspicious guy here, and accept his quest, and turn around and just run this way. Again, ideally you run like this, but just for visibility's sake, I'm not going to. And then we keep running in this direction, and you can kind of see the red icon in the minimap on the upper right corner. Talk to this guy, and hire, pick Edelgard, 2 down, hire the Seros Holy Monks. And we'll get into what that does later. That is pretty much the most broken thing in the game. I'll get into, and I'll go over it when we actually use it. And after you do that, we're done with the monastery. So we can finish exploring. But at this point, now that we're kind of done with a lot of tutorial stuff, it's a lot faster to open up the menu, go to calendar, and then pick the last dates on the month. So you want to pick the 30th, and then skip to date. And now we just noom through. We have a lecture question, bottom, we want to pick the worst answer because we want to be a horrible teacher.
Professor.
And just keep matching B through everything. Just make sure that on 6/22, you hit A to celebrate Edelgard's birthday. Happy birthday. By the way, a glitch just happened that's actually detrimental to the run.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, no, it's actually, we actually had to route around it at some point. So, fun fact, if the mission is on a Monday and you skip to the Monday, you see these notepads here? Every time you hit one of these notepads, it's like a week where you're supposed to teach stuff and get a lot of experience points. And in Linhardt's case, his goal is set to faith, so he's getting 48 faith per week, which is a lot if you look at these ranks.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you skip straight to the Monday, this week will be skipped as if it never happened. So we just lost 48 worth of faith experience on him.
Oh no.
Which is a lot. Yeah, this game is kind of a buggy mess. Thankfully, it doesn't matter in most routes. It matters in the Golden Deer route. We actually have to work around it. But almost every glitch in this game is harmful for the speedrun, which is kind of the opposite of speedruns where you want to use glitches to go fast. But no, This game is just really bad about that. Almost everything is harmful to the player. Which is why, like, this is one of those times where it's like, can you please patch the game and fix these?
Yeah. Please.
But unfortunately, they made like 4 patches to this game. They added more bugs than fixed.
Oh no.
No, they added more bugs. I think they fixed like a total of 5 bugs or something and added way more. So not to be like that kind of person who says this game is a mess, but yeah, this game's a little bit of a mess.
Yeah.
But I still love this game, and that's what matters. So, okay. Speaking of which, we're in Fog of War, and we want to... Fog of War is a map where you cannot see more than 2 tiles ahead of you. It's usually 3 in most games, but they made it 2 in this game for whatever reason, which is really frustrating. Also, because this is a Fog of War, it's a lag fest, so you want to make sure you are zoomed in and tilt the camera up. If you do this with the right analog stick, you are making the game lag way more. So make sure you tilt it up. Deselect everyone. We're just going to solo this map with Kittymon. And fight. Alright, so the objective of this map is to defeat the boss up on this tile, except he doesn't exist. He only spawns when we kill a Dark Mage on this tile, which you can't see because it's Fog of War. But like, this is a very scripted chapter. You don't really need to know too much about what's going on, so pretty much just move by to this tile. Make sure she has Iron Gauntlets equipped. Just skip through everything. This is a very scripted chapter, so like, you don't really need to learn about any backups or anything like that. And then move her through this tile. This tile is a little bit important because like there's a Dark Mage here with a Gambit. And I haven't really gone over what Gambits do, but yeah, this is actually a good time to go over battalions really quickly. So for those less familiar with the game, this is a battalion. If you want to put it to simple RPG terms, they're basically an accessory slot that gives you buffs. So right now, this is an accessory slot that gives me +2 attack, +8 crit, +12 avoid. And these accessory slots can kind of level up. They also have their own health bar kind of. So like once, you can kind of see the endurance is 30 out of 75. If it hits 0, you lose the battalion. You can still like fix it later, but you basically just lose it for the rest of the map and don't get the bonuses. And battalions also allow you to use gambits, which is basically like an extra ability. And gambits, there are 2 types of gambits, offensive ones and supportive ones. And we have an offensive one called Assault Troop. And it's kind of an AoE where it hits 4 targets in front of you. We're not going to use it much because gambits are slow, but enemies will try to gambit you. And that's really bad because if you get hit by a gambit, you get rattled, which is basically a stun lock. And that's really bad in the speedrun if it wasn't obvious because there's no way to work around it. And so this guy right here has a gambit. But because he can attack you at range, enemies will only usually try to gambit you only if they don't have a way to attack without being countered. And since this guy's a magic user, he can gambit you, but he can also attack you at range, so he's not going to gambit you typically. Because he can attack you at range and not basic counterattack. So we're going to go here with Byleth. Now there's the mage, you can see the mage there, and now he's going to attack from that tile. If you had like a weapon that allowed you to counter him, then he will gambit you. But thankfully we don't. And we actually want to lure him out of the forest. Because forests give a lot of avoid. And then we want to move to this tile and just punch him in the face. Boop. Nice crit. Alright, so now after you kill him, you get kind of a cutscene where you get this really cool badass cutscene of like this woman named Catherine. Just kind of killing everything. There she is. Right, we're skipping it. And now the fog's clear, so now we can see what's going on the map. We'll just skip everything as usual. And then we'll move to this tile here. We're low on HP, so if you ever get low on HP, just heal with a vulnerary. Make sure you keep your fists equipped. So this is a strat that I came up with actually coming up here. So like all these enemies have gambits. In other words, like if I move Byleth here with a 1-range weapon, they will all try to gambit you. And if you get hit by any of them, you will get rattled, which again is basically a stun lock. And that is terrible. That is really bad. I came up with a strategy where you can move to this tile instead, shoot this guy with a bow, and since bows cannot counterattack at one range, that armor knight that's nearby with a gambit will not gambit me because he can attack me without facing a counter. See, now he just attacked me normally because I can't counter him. So that works out very conveniently and is very consistent. And now and since we're a thief again, we can just blitz through this forest. If we're like any other grounded class, you wouldn't be able to go as far as this tile because this forest is in the way. But since we're a thief, we can just kind of blitz through, punch this nerd in the face. And because we're so mobile, relatively speaking, the other nerds with gambits can't actually reach us anymore, so yep, can't reach us. And the last thing is we want to kill the boss by using the bow, like this. If you're at 21 strength, you can just go ahead and punch him in the face too. You kind of don't want to do it if you don't, because he'll just gambit you. You might be noticing a trend here, which is why I explain gambits. And he has a one-range gambit, and he doesn't move. So, like, if you attack him at range, he'll just attack you at range again anyways. You have been... Boop. So he's gonna attack us. I don't think we have enough strength to kill him immediately. Yeah, we don't. Our strength is not doing too well, but that's okay. Kinda helps. So ideally, you kill him here, but we don't have enough strength to kill him immediately. That's okay. Just finish him off in the next turn. So yeah. And that's that map. Okay, so now the next month we're gonna have 0 monastery visits. We're just gonna skip straight to the map. So I mentioned that there were 2 types of gambits: offensive ones and supportive ones. And I mentioned earlier that we went to the battalion guild to hire the Seros Holy Monks for Edelgard. That is a E rank battalion, meaning anyone with E authority can equip it, which is literally the lowest possible authority. So literally anyone can use it. And it has a supportive gambit called Stride. What does it do? It allows up to 13 units to get +5 movement for the rest of the turn. Very broken. Before we move on to the map, you can see this event here. Say yes. Very important. Conveniently, so this game will randomly pick 2 of your students to do choir practice with you. And conveniently enough, since we killed off everyone else, this is guaranteed to be Edelgard and Linhardt. So
they're just expelled.
Yeah, okay, expelled, there we go. Expelled is a better word, thank you. So Linhardt got a lot of faith experience, and this, more importantly, this gives you 45 support points with everyone. Remember how I mentioned we need to hit 200 support points with Edelgard? That's 1/4 of that right there. So that is a very important event. Do not miss that. Otherwise, your run's dead.
My effort.
Okay. And we go on to the map. Alright, so this chapter is pretty straightforward. You get this is the first time you'll see Stride being used. You'll see Stride being used a lot more often later on in the run. Not as much for now, but because like again, in a speedrun of Fire Emblem, it's kind of similar to like a Pokemon speedrun in that you want to just one-man the entire thing. Like, the more units you use, the more time you lose. So, a lot of times you want to just make sure you use Byleth and only Byleth. Alright. I'll go through this pretty quickly, because it's a very straightforward map. You want to kill this boss. Kind of a big map. First thing you want to do, Edelgard, go here, Gambit, Stride. Next thing you do, Linhardt, equip heal. This is actually important for later on. Waits, Byleth moves all the way up, left down to this tile. And waits, make sure she has a bow equipped so she counterattacks the mage nearby. Next turn, move her up here, kill this mage. End turn. And like, we're actually getting attacked by other units, but they're fine, don't worry about them. Next turn, move here, punch this nerd. Hope for a good level up. Okay, not bad. This is good. End turn. Next turn, auto battle, charge. Map done. So if I like went through that not slowly, that would have taken like 20 seconds. So it's a very fast map. And we also just got the Sword of the Creator, which is like a Byleth exclusive weapon, kind of. We want it. The weapon sucks. It's not a very good weapon, but the only reason it's good is because it's our only option for attacking 1 and 2 range. So like most weapons attack only at 1 range. Bows attack at 2 range, but cannot counter at 1 range. This weapon allows you to do both. And that's pretty important. Because otherwise, it's not a very good weapon, really. Like, it's okay. The problem with it is that it's really heavy, which, one fun fact, this game never explains weapon weight. You lose 1 speed per weapon weight, which is very important because speed is a stat that allows you to double attack or get double attacked. You can mitigate it to a degree, but yeah. And I think this weapon has 9 weights, I think. So you're usually losing around 6 or 7 speed from having it equipped.
Oh, jeez.
So, and yeah, this game never explains that, so. All right, skip to the mission. Pretty straightforward. And like, you can just see us just blitzing through now, because we don't have any students, we don't have any events, we don't care about anything, we just skip through. And then, before you start the map, you want to go to the marketplace, battalion guild, replenish, plus, yes. Why? Because our Gerald's mercenaries are almost broken, and this is the map that kind of checks your Byleth stats, because you need a lot of defense for this map to be reliable. Our Byleth is like below average on defense, we can get by, but fine for now. Yeah, so how the weapon weight works in this game, which this game never explains, which is, again, really important. I don't know why they neglected it, but then again, this whole game also never explained terrain with magic. Fun fact, magic ignores terrain bonuses. Terrain avoid, I should say. It's a mechanic that this game stole from Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valencia. But how weapon weight works is that each point of weight loses you 1 speed, but you can mitigate that with every 5 strength. And that's actually important for mathing the endgame later on. Deselect everyone. I'll do a safety save just in case. So right now, Byleth has 19 AS. This is basically your real speed. Like your raw speed, this is like your normal speed, your raw speed. This is like your final calculated speed. And right now they're both 19 because the Iron Gauntlets weigh 3. So I'm supposed to lose 3 speed, but because I have over 15 strength, I completely negate that. However, if I equip the Sword of the Creator, which has 9 weights, you can actually see the AS at the bottom right corner go down to 13 because I'm losing 9 speed. I'm mitigating 3 of that weight because I have 15 strength. So I'm losing 6 speed. So now I have 13 speed, basically. So, okay, so this is a map. Yeah, this is a map. It's a very big map. This is a very big map. So like everything up to like this part is like pretty scripted, and then you kind of have to improvise from there. The more you play this speedrun this game, the more you'll recognize certain patterns and just kind of know what to do. But this is just the kind of map you have to just do a lot and understand what's going on. So like there's a reason behind like every specific positioning of Byleth for now. Make sure she has gauntlets equipped. Last thing to note, we want to make sure that we hit D gauntlets, D brawling, because when you're using gauntlets, which I never mentioned before, if you initiate an attack, you attack twice per hit. So that's why we can attack 4 times with this sometimes. But if you're getting attacked, you can't do that. So you can only attack 2 times on the counter attack. This makes these gauntlets like really good offensively, like when you're doing a player phase action, but they're like not as good when you're like going through an enemy phase, basically. And like since you're attacking 4 times, this has 1 might. Steel gauntlets have 3 might, so if you're attacking 4 times, that's 8 extra damage, which is a lot. But unfortunately, we can't use it yet because we need D-brawling, which is why you kind of want to keep using Iron Gauntlets throughout this map until you hit D-brawling. So basically move past this tile, nothing happens. Oh, that's a green unit, we can't control him. He adds a lot more luck to this map and he's annoying. Just ignore him. We move to this tile, and the goal is to kind of aggro these archers that have 3 range because we kind of want to distract them as long as possible, and that makes all of these units start moving towards us, which we kind of want. You'll see what happens with that if things go well. Okay, move Byleth here. We ignore those. We get some brawling experience here. That archer's aggroed. We dodge. And then we want to make sure we move to this tile. This very specific tile is very important. And again, if you're kind of low on health or you want to be safe, just heal with the vulnerary. So now all of these units are going to start chasing after us, which we kind of want. You'll see why. We'll skip that because there's just a bunch of units moving without anything interesting. Next turn, move 4 up exactly to this tile. And there's a mage nearby, so we want to counter the mage, so we want to equip the Sword of the Creator. Again, this is the weapon that has 1 to 2 range, so it allows us to counter almost anything. We just can't counterattack 3 range enemies, which unfortunately those archers have, but oh well. Yeah, this mage will attack us, and we can counter him, and he's dead.
I'm not set.
That's actually a pretty good level up. So, because like strength and dexterity is like the 3rd most important stat. We want to move here. We want to equip Brawling again, Gauntlets again, because again, we want to hit deep Brawling. And then move up here. Go ahead and heal. If we ran out of healing options, we can go to the convoy and grab some more. We can go ahead and toss the Steel Lance. We're never going to use it, and then we'll just grab some more vulneraries to heal. Again, this chapter definitely varies depending on like what enemy patterns you get and what your Byleth stats are. The first like 8 turns are pretty scripted. So everything I'm doing up to now is pretty scripted. Once you like get past this, you have to start improvising more. We're gonna move Byleth here. And again, you want to be very aggressive about healing because like this chapter is the bulk check for Byleth. Like you need every bit of HP you can get. We didn't counter that mage. That's fine because again, we want to hit de-brawling. That's our priority, which we'll barely do right here. There you go, de-brawling.
I still have.
And we got a vulnerary. Oh, conveniently enough, we can now use the Steel Gauntlets, so the Iron Gauntlets are useless. Now that we hit de-brawling, we want to make sure that we kill the Archer and stop getting hit by it, so we equip the Sword of the Creator, heal up a bit more. Okay, and now we want to kill this guy. Fun fact, this Armor Knight is hard-coded. Like this Armor Knight stats are basically a separate class from like all the other Armor Knights in the game for whatever reason. He's completely hard-coded. And other fun fact, Gilbert's class is the same as that Armor Knight. That's why his stats are terrible. So, yeah. All right, so we want to go here and like we want to go ahead and use a Gambit, which you can actually select using a Gambit with the X and Y buttons. So, Steel Gauntlets, Sword of the Creator, Assault Troop, that's the Gambit. Or you can just do this. Of course, it's faster to just select the enemy and then cycle through like that typically. If you miss this, you are screwed. You're gonna lose a lot of time. This is a 92% chance to hit, by the way, not 80%. So like it's pretty likely. I was gonna say it's very likely you'll hit. Because there's a 92% chance to hit, and I missed. So, you know, 92% is not 100%, so it happens. So that is really bad. That is actually very bad. There's no backup for it. You just have to try again, and you start taking way more hits. So what I'm gonna try to do, oh yeah, okay, I can explain this mechanic. So I'm gonna use this mechanic for teaching purposes. This is not what I would do in a real speedrun. But if you press the ZL button, starting from chapter 2, you can actually backtrack to previous turns in case something goes wrong. This is called Divine Pulse, which is very useful in case something goes wrong. But you also have a limited number of them. Right now I only have 3. And you want to be careful with this because the RNG is always going to be the same when you do this. So like if I go back to this turn and try to Assault Troop again, I will miss again. I'm going to try to manipulate the RNG a little bit and try to get a different roll. So what happened here? So you get a little bit of a lesson on how the RNG works. So what I did here before was I equipped the Sword of the Creator and healed. And that allowed me to counterattack this mage. And I one-shot? I didn't one-shot. So if I counterattack this mage, I'm using up 4 random numbers per hit. So I use up, typically speaking, this mage will attack me and we'll use 3 random numbers. And I get hit it twice, probably use 8 random numbers. Typically speaking, whenever you attack, you use up, you can kind of see the hit and the crit. The game will roll 2 random numbers for hit and 1 random number for crit if you hit. Some characters have another secondary effect. Byleth does, so typically she'll roll 4 random numbers. The less technical explanation is basically, I'm not going to equip this. And then since I'm rolling different numbers, random numbers, I should be getting a different result when I try to gambit. That's the simple explanation. So I'm actually not going to counterattack this mage. So that means the random numbers I roll on this gambit will be different. If I miss this again, that's actually going to be really unlucky. Okay, we're good. So there you go. There's your short lesson on how to RNG manipulate, kind of. And we just got one of the most important items in the game, the accuracy ring. That's what it sounds like. You get plus 10 hit. That is a huge deal. That is a very big deal. You do not want to miss this. So kill this armor knight. It's a very high priority. So, and you're kind of seeing why we kind of wanted to aggro all these units now, because like previously they were kind of blocking your way, but just due to how the timing worked out, we're all just here when we kind of snuck past them. So now we're just kind of outrunning them. Basically, we kind of snuck around them, so we can kind of ignore them. Ideally, they start going in this direction and going after Gilbert. But there's only so much you can do about it. You just have to hope they go that way. So now we just want to keep moving. Again, this is a long map, so. And then now we kind of have all these archers that we cannot counterattack because they have 3 range. Basically, you want to try to keep moving in this direction, and see, if you can, try to kill an archer on the way without wasting much movement. So that's exactly what I'm going to try to do. Punch this archer. That's a pretty terrible level up. Okay. And then we can go ahead and kill this archer while still moving in that direction. You can use the Sword of the Creator. You should try to use an iron bow or gauntlets if you can, because you want to conserve the uses of the Sword of the Creator for the boss fight coming up soon. So, usually you want to use iron bow if you can help it. So I can kill this guy here, but that's going to cost me an extra turn. I'm not going to, but if you want to be really safe, you can. But you kind of see some of these enemies are moving towards us. You want to make sure they don't catch up to us, because it's really bad if they catch up. So we're going to ignore these archers for now.
Stay focused.
And then this is kind of the magic tile, where from this tile, you have barely enough movement to reach the boss in 2 turns. So. And you want to just keep healing. Even if you're at really high on HP, just keep healing. You need every bit of HP you can get coming up. And yes, this is on normal difficulty. This is the big run killer for most routes, despite the fact it's on normal difficulty. So I'm going to use an iron bow, because again, we want to conserve Sword of the Creator uses. And hopefully kill him on next turn. Yeah, that's enough, okay. Hopefully get a defense level, because our defense is 2 behind average. It is still 2 behind average, so this is not a good luck for us.
Oh my, such.
All right, monsters. Monsters are probably one of my favorite mechanics in this game. I'm not going to go into details on how they work. Basically, the monsters all take half damage with a barrier. You can break a barrier by hitting it twice, or using an effective ability, which one of our combat arts actually do break barriers in 1 hit. And this monster has 1 to 2 range, so you want to try to equip the Sword of the Creator equipped if you can help it, so you can always counterattack this monster. You are absolutely not intended to take on this monster with 1 unit. This monster has, you're supposed to break all the barriers with gambits with multiple units, and this monster also has 3 health bars. You kind of see the problem right now. We are one-manning this, which makes this a huge pain, because and this monster, no matter how good your defense is, this monster will kill you in 2 hits. So you just have to pray you dodge. You just have to pray you dodge and don't die. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to pray. So, we dodged. Okay, he kills us in 3 hits. Okay, that's not as bad. And we also want Gilbert to be a distraction to green unit. Make him, hopefully he's useful for something at least. And he'll try to help us out with the monster, which is actually good. You need every bit of help you can get. This is kind of a boss battle. You just have to improvise depending on if you got hits, or if your strength is blessed, or if Gilbert's going well. What I do a lot of times is I use a gambit here, because when you gambit a monster, that directs their attention to you. which is good and good offensively, but kind of a risk because you kind of don't want to take hits. But at the same time, you also keep Gilbert alive, so he can help out on the next health bar a bit. If you're low on health, you want to retreat to this heal tile and just keep healing. So I'm going to do what I normally do, which is a Gambit, which is a 98% chance to hit. Yes, I know the game says 90. I'll go over why the game lies to you when I have a break. Good, so now the first health bar is down. We have 2 more health bars to go. He's going to try to hit us with his own Gambit. We got hit. That's really bad. Okay, and we'll skip the rest. Gilbert hopefully weaken something. He'll probably die. He did. That's expected. All right. So if I want to play risky, I can just go for this. So I'll do it. I dodged. Cool. Will I dodge again? I dodged. Cool. All right. So that if I don't get hit by the other fighter, this play will have paid off because now I can just finish the map immediately. And I dodged again. And that play really paid off because I was able to break the barrier because I hit it twice, and now I can just finish him off by punching him like this because he's taking double damage now, or rather normal damage since I can attack an exposed tile. So like, in terms of luck, this went perfectly. Like this basically went perfectly. This is not how this normally goes smoothly. If you get unlucky, or if you've taken so much damage, you end up just kind of camping here and just keep healing over and over and over again and praying to survive. I played it a little bit risky. A lot of times you'll die. And that's not, like, I had like 3 chances to die right there, and I dodged all of them. I got lucky. And there's a very realistic chance that you have to Divine Pulse backwards, and there's a very realistic chance you have to Divine Pulse back and actually run out, maybe. So there's actually a glitch in this game where, a convenient glitch where, let's just Divine Pulse just once for the heck of it. All right, I'm at 2 Divine Pulses left. If you go all the way back to just before you killed Miklon, right here, like before the monster face, basically.
Stay focused.
Okay, skip that cutscene.
Oh my. So
Huh? We have 3 charges of Divine Pulse. Where did those come from? So yeah, I'm not really sure if it's a glitch. I feel like it's probably not intended, but basically, if you're about to run out of Divine Pulses, like you only have 1 left and you're in a sticky situation, you can go all the way back to the Miklon kill back here and that'll refresh it. So, and I know the exact results are going to happen because your RNG is going to be the same, so you can just keep doing that again. Okay, so I'll just do this quickly. You'll see what this looks like when I do it quickly, actually quickly. Okay, Gilbert's dead. Just attack here. And punch. Okay, our strength is actually really good. That's good. All right, yeah, so 20 turns is like pretty much the optimal turn count. Usually, you'll probably get like 22 to 24 turns. Usually. Can't be helped. But that's probably like one of the 3 most complicated chapters. The others being the first chapter in the game and chapter 7. So like that chapter is pretty much like the big run killer. Like, everything just has to go smoothly for the most part. Oh yeah, we have unskippable cutscenes. Just want to masterpiece by alternating A-B. I don't think these options matter, in this route at least. Although, fun facts for a lot of people who might not know. If you have Sylvain, the player, the womanizer character in your party at this point, you can actually keep that weapon that you just returned. If you want to know how good it is, yeah, the Sword of the Creator that we've been using, that sword with 1 to 2 range, has 7 might. Okay.
Okay.
Steel gauntlets have 3 might but you're punching 4 times in a row. The Lance of Ruin, which is the weapon we just returned, has 22 mites. 22. And it's E rank, so literally anyone can use it. On top of that, it has plus 20 crit. So you're going to have like 40 crit with it. It is a very broken weapon you can get very early. And like, yeah. One of the routes actually gets it, goes out of its way to get it, but we don't get it in this route. Okay. So, we actually can go straight to the mission if you want to. We're not going to, because the next mission is it's a simple mission, but we need another character to cheese it. So we're gonna go ahead and explore. And then we're gonna warp straight to the marketplace. And recruit Shamir.
What brings you here?
She's right here, so recruit her, mash A.
I'm a bit...
She's like one of the best units in the game, like not even joking, because like she's a sniper. Snipers are an advanced tier class. You're supposed to only become them at level 20. She's level 11, by the way. So her base stats are the base stats of like a level 20 class. Like, just look at her ridiculous stats. Level 11, 18 strength, 21 dexterity, and 17 luck. Compare that to our Byleth. Like, her stats are pretty competitive with our Byleths. Like, obviously our Byleth's a lot stronger, but like keep in mind, Byleth has gained 8 more levels over Shamir. She is really, really, really good. She is very broken. Hilariously enough, though, she's actually not going to be used that much in the speedrun for combat, but she will be in this map. Okay, so other routes that recruit Shamir would just end exploring right here, but we have a few errands we need to run because we need support points. So we want to run up here, grab this blue thing that's right. Come on. Yeah, this blue thing, that's an owl feather. You'll see what it is later. We want to run here, unlock this room as a warp point, run back around this way. And again, ideally you'd be running like this, but so people can actually see what's going on. I'm going to zoom out, run around this corner, and we unlock the Knight's Stable as a warp point. Now we're going to warp here to the Knight's Hall. We want to run backwards. There's another owl feather right here. Then we want to turn this way. And we have Annette, our girl. We're not going to recruit her, but we can request mission assistance from her, which is basically like a temporary recruitment just for one map. Now we want to warp to the Officers Academy. I lied. We want to warp to the second floor. Ignore that step. We warp to the second floor. And we're going to grab this blue thing here. Run here. Here's our dad. He has a quest for us. Lost found. He dropped something. Conveniently enough, we just picked it up.
Thanks for your help.
And this is a very important quest because we just got a bunch of gifts and the ability to give gifts. Which means we can go to the Officers Academy and talk to Edelgard here and give her gifts. So gift, we want to give her the Armored Bear Stuffy, which is 20 support points, and then the Riding Boots, which is 10 support points. And at this point, she should hit 100 points of support, which is C support. Not C+, we're halfway, but C support. I forgot a conversation in this tutorial at the very start, which is 4 support points, so we're actually a little bit short. As a backup though, what you can do is you can give her an owl feather, which we normally need this owl feather later.
Thank you.
Just doing it as a kind of a backup. But there's another owl feather we can just pick up to make up for that. All the way back here, that one. So there we go. And now, the sword is unlocked. We want to just skip to the next month. She's gonna ask to talk to us. She's gonna initiate a support conversation with us during the month. So we don't have to worry about like going after her to activate the support. So press B, skip that. There it is. Want to press A. Very important, press A on this, first try. If you skip this, you miss 20 support points. So now we hit 100. Game gives you +1 when you advance the support level, so we're at 101. And if you accept the support immediately, you get +20. So we're at 121 support points with her. The too long don't wait is make sure you say yes to that. And yeah, you can kind of see the time loss of recruiting another character. We just got another lecture question. Again, the worst answer for Shamir is middle, which is what you want to do. So give the worst answer as much as possible. And then before you start the next mission, and this is, you don't have to like memorize all this. This is all in the guide. I actually use notes for the speedrunning this game too. So before you start the next mission, you want to go to the goals and you want to change Edelgard's goals to axe and flying. Yeah, axe and flying, because like we don't need armor anymore because she just learned weight -3, which basically gives you more speed, basically. So we need flying rank on her for part 2. And then we're going to go to Shamir and set her to riding only. Why are we setting her to riding? Because she learns as little as possible. Again, we want to be as horrible of a teacher as possible. So we want everyone to learn as little as possible. And solo riding or solo flying are the goals you want to set, so a unit learns as little as possible. Okay, so this next map is really fast. It is a route map, except for one unit. Your goal is to kill every unit on the map except for the boss, or you can kill the boss. Take a wild guess on which is way faster. Yeah, you kind of don't want to kill all that, but the boss is right here. But how do we reach him? Question mark. Oh, we got Shamir. She's a sniper. She has 3 range. And there's also a combat art called Curve Shot, which gives you +1 range. Oh, conveniently enough, there's a towel here that reaches the boss in 4 range. Problem, he kind of kills us. He kind of kills us instantly because he counters everything we attack him with. So don't do that. But there's a reason why we got Annette, our girl here, for mission assistance, because she has an ability called Rally Strength. And this is important because Shamir is at 11 AS. The the Death Knight, DK, he's at 15 AS. And in order to double attack someone, you need 4 more. He barely double attacks Shamir right now, as she is. So we just need 1 more speed to avoid getting double attacked. So thankfully, Annette has Rally Strength, which gives you +4 strength temporarily. And
I'm good
now she has 11 because we just passed 20 strength, which means we mitigated 1 less weight. So we basically gained 1 speed from that. So now she does not get doubled, which is perfect. There's still a problem because he kind of has 18 crit on us. Can't do anything about it. If it happens, burn a turn and just hope for the best. Have Linnar here and heal Shamir because she needs to be at almost full HP to take another hit. At some point in the map, you're going to get a door key with Byleth. Keep it. And just keep doing this over and over again. Poke. Gets a level up. That's a really good level up because she got the only 2 relevant stats. And turn. And we got a door key. Make sure you keep it. And we don't need to rally or heal her because this is the killing blow. You want to do a combat art, curve shot, iron bow, finish him off. There's a chance that he crits her back. If that happens, you divine pulse, and then you just try to burn random numbers by attacking something random with Byleth. So that map usually takes like 20 seconds if you do it really quickly. So. Okay, so we have a pretty involved chapter coming up soon. How are we doing on time right now?
Yes, indeed.
We're at about 1:23.
Kidnapper was
Okay,
the masked
so maybe we can do a
enemies
break soon, if that makes sense.
Eat that.
Yep.
You know.
All right, so maybe before it started the next map, which will be in like
Sounds
a
good.
minute. Okay. Oh yeah, we have an unskippable cutscene here. You want to pick the bottom option because you're being really rude. If you're being nice, you have extra cutscenes and dialogue. So again, you want to be a horrible teacher. Okay. Skip everything. And now we hit chapter 7. So we actually just got a new unit. Her name is Flane. I'm gonna post something in chat because I love this emote. She's a green-haired girl. She's kind of a convenient priest you get in your party. Because and she's also like not super under-leveled. She kind of just joins at a convenient time. She's really nice for the next map, basically. And a free unit, so we take those. So, chapter 7. Before we move on, we want to go to the inventory, battalions, pick Flame, remove this battalion because if you remember what my advice from chapter 1, level ups are bad. Battalions do level up, so if it's a battalion you don't want to level up, you don't want it to level up, so we want to remove it. And then we skip to the end. We're gonna get a lecture question here from Flane.
Professor.
Bottom, we want to pick bottom, that's the worst answer. And then we want to say yes to this prompt, Solo Faith. That makes her learn 1 less ability. And again, we want to be a bad teacher. Learning less is better. And right, like this, you're just losing time from people learning stuff. And the last setup we have for this map coming up, we want to go to the marketplace battalion guild and replenish our battalions, because after that giant monster map, our battalion is usually pretty low, and this is another map that's pretty long. And this is like the last map that's like long and really complicated. The rest of the run goes like pretty quickly for the most part. So this is why I think this will probably make a good stopping point for a quick break. And this is like actually kind of the halfway point of the run, funnily enough. So
Okay.
yeah, it works out. Okay.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Games on Quick Hotfix. This is How to Train a Speedrunner, and we are in the middle of our tutorial on Fire Emblem's 3 Houses. We are joined by Kirby Master. How are you doing, Kirby, after that break?
I'm doing all right. Took a bit of a stretch break, used my inversion table because I unfortunately have back issues. You should all make sure you stand up and move around, take care of your posture. And I'm feeling all right. So this is totally gameplay. So we have a guest featuring Corvame. I think we can take a few quick, like 2 minutes to go over a math lesson for this game. So if you've been paying attention to like the displayed hit rates and stuff, you might have heard me say, "Oh, that's an 80%, but actually it's a 92%. So like we're likely to hit it," and then I missed. But ignore that. Or maybe you see me say, "Oh, that's a 90 hit, but it's actually a 98 hit." Every Fire Emblem game ever since the GBA ones lie to you. In a good way, by the way. So, because humans naturally are terrible at probability. Like if you see a 90% chance to hit, you think it's gonna hit, right? And then the few times you see it miss, you think it's BS or unfair because you're not gonna remember the other 9 times you hit the 90%. And this is the game series' way to help address that. What the game actually does is what you would expect is it takes one random number and compares it to hit rate. So like if you have a 70% chance to hit something, you'd expect the game to roll a number between 0 to 99. If it's lower than 70, you hit. If it's higher, you miss. What most Fire Emblem games actually do is they take 2 random numbers, takes their average, and then compares it. So what you have instead is this graph, which in this game, we call that the 2RN system. So hit rates above 50% are actually higher than what the game tells you, and hit rates below 50% are actually lower than what the game tells you. Hence the blue line you see in Corvame's graph that Richard totally did not Photoshop in. So and it makes sense because like if you think about it, what are the chances? How do you miss a 90% hit? In order to do that, you have to roll 2 numbers where their average is higher than 90. That means you have to roll 2 numbers in a row that are really high. So the odds of missing a 90% is not 90%, but it's actually 98.1%. And don't ask me how I do the math. I just have to memorize because I've done this way too many times. Likewise, if you have a 10% chance to hit, it's not actually 10%. It's 2.1% because you have to roll 2 really low numbers in a row. And the entire point of this, at least what we all assume, is to align it a lot more closely to human perception because human perception of probability is terrible. Like, I'll be blunt, we suck at probability. Unless you're me. I'm pretty good at it. If you play as much Fire Emblem as me, you just know. You understand it. You get good at this stuff. I'll allow myself to be a little bit conceited this one time. But basically, this benefits the player most of the time because, your units are typically going to be better than enemy units, so your hit rates are going to be a lot higher typically, whereas enemies will have lower hit rate on you. Remember the monster fight I just did? I faced 3 30% in a row. That benefited me because those 30% were actually 18% instead. Likewise, if you have to land a 90%, it benefits me still because it's actually 98%. So that's basically the math lesson on hit rates. And I think that's actually kind of important to understand because this game is all about reliability and hit rates. So, and just knowing how to understand that is pretty important in understanding your risk reward kind of thing. Anyways, so shout outs to May for this lovely, lovely graph that she's provided us. Now back on to the game. Actual game. So, what we did is we are on the start of chapter 7. This route has 18 maps. We are about halfway done because after this, maps are going to go pretty darn quickly for the most part. What was the red line in that graph? The red line is the Fates Echoes RNG. Oh! So, Fire Emblem Fates and Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valencia have a different formula that they use. If the hit rate's below 50%, the game doesn't lie to you. If it's above 50%, let's see if I can do this out of memory. It's, I think, if X is a displayed hit, it's X plus X times negative 215 sine of X pi over 50. Yes, I remembered it. Yes. Okay, let me post it in chat. Let me post it in chat. This is the Fates and Echoes formula. X plus X times negative 215 sine X pi over 50. Why? Don't ask me. But that's the red curve you see. That's the formula for the red curve. Okay. On to the map. So, one thing we need to keep in mind. Oh, again, we still care about support points in Edelgard. We're currently at 121 support points with her, and we need to hit 200. So we have a cutscene here. Pick the top option. Plus 5, skip. Someone literally, I didn't make it up. Someone literally, what's it called? Reverse engineered that formula from the literal game data. That is actually a hit rate for Fates and Echoes. Which is why a lot of casuals have like a lot of criticism about the hit rates, because it's like very not even, or not symmetric. And it also just feels very different from the other Fire Emblem games. For good and that's why it is calculated differently. Okay. So, yeah, so this map is by far the most complicated map in the entire run. And like, I cannot go over everything that can happen. I just can't. That's gonna take like 5 hours. This is just the kind of map you have to do over and over and over again. It depends on your bio stats. You just have to learn every little detail on every unit. I don't play this map properly like 30% of the time. This is the map that like requires like actual improvisation nonstop. I'll go through it semi-slowly after the first few turns, just to kind of explain my thought process on this map. And the reason why this map is so complicated is the Battle of the Eagle and Lion. You are one of 3 houses facing each other in a mock battle. That means the other 2 houses are also fighting each other. This house and the yellow units here. They are also fighting each other, and there are like basically almost infinite countless possibilities of what can happen here. There's just too much variance. That being said, the first 4 or 5 turns are usually pretty consistent and reliable and relatively scripted. So I'll be going over those steps, and I'll start going over my thought process. Oh yeah, the objective of this map is to kill everyone. That's why you can kind of see the problem with why there's so much variance in this map. You have to take everyone out. All right, first things first, you'll have Edelgard move here, use a stride. If you remember what it does, stride gives everyone plus 5 movement. So that's our movement for this turn. Yeah, and we'll just do an auto battle. That will position Byleth and Flame into spots that we want them to be in. So Byleth can go ahead and finish off this Armor Knight. 11 defenses, kinda. Okay, next thing we want to do, we want Byleth to go up to this tile and finish off Ash, who is on the Ballista. So we just want to finish him off with Sword of the Creator. We can use a bow. We want Sword of the Creator equipped so we can counterattack this Armor Knight, and also her. She is dangerous. You want to kill her very quickly because she is really dangerous. Oh, she has pass? What? She has pass? Oh, wow. Today I learned she has pass. Okay. Interesting. Oh, wait, why is she so dangerous? Her stats are really bonkers. And she is also a cheater. She is a filthy cheater. She is a enemy exclusive advanced Pegasus Knight, by the way. That's why she has Lance Fair. She just does plus 5 damage with lances. Which is why, like, fun fact, if you recruit her out of house, you get a really buff Ingrid, because she gets auto levels off of an advanced class that's impossible to get. But yeah, she's really scary. All right, so we end turn. Hopefully we don't die. And then we want to blitz Byleth back into this forest here and equip the gauntlets. and heal up as well. So, interestingly enough, a lot of enemies will prioritize attacking Byleth, even though like they can just destroy Flame because she's squishy, which is really convenient. So what we're gonna do is have Flame move to this tile, equip heal, because you can kind of Nosferatu, the spell weighs her down a lot, so we want to make sure she doesn't get weighed down. And if we need to heal Byleth, we heal her. We don't need to, so we'll just wait. And typically speaking, you want to take advantage of Flame because she has this ability, which if she's next to Byleth, Byleth takes 3 less damage from everything. So you want to keep her next to Byleth as much as possible. And now all of these Pegasus Knights will basically die, hopefully. And hopefully we dodge. That's why we're in the forest. They all have 16 hit, which is actually around 4%. Again, the 2 are in system. Give all that. Typically, Ignatz, the archer, will start moving in this direction. We want to make sure we kill him. It's important because we cannot counter archers. So archers are our top priority to kill. So like, we're still kind of in the semi-scripted part of this map, by the way. Flame will go here, heal Byleth.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then we end turn. Pegasus Knight will probably die on Byleth. Yep. That yellow Cavalier up there should also die on Byleth. You can kind of see quite a few yellow units kind of converging on us. That Cavalier's not supposed to be there, is it? No, it's fine, yeah, okay. Okay, so we want to move Flame here so we can bring this red Cavalier over towards us. So we're gonna go ahead and move it here. There's a chance we might die here because I don't have a chance to heal Byleth, so we're just gonna YOLO. Nice. And then now she's gonna attack us, she's gonna attack us, this Cavalier's gonna attack us, and ideally we survive, dodge tank, and kill all of them. And just pray. And then they kind of see, you don't care about that. That's the part that just varies a lot. What we care about is all the units are on Byleth. Oh, they killed Dimitri. Nice. Okay, good. That's a lucky dodge. That 64 hit is actually around 75. Ow. We should be fine. I don't think that Cavalier does much damage to us. Okay, we're good. Yeah, okay. And now this is where we pretty much have to just improvise. So usually, your general goal is to kind of move in this direction and take out Felix. He doesn't move unless someone's in range, and more often than not, he's not going to move ever because like usually all these yellows will be dead by then. So we just want to make sure we like get his attention as soon as possible. That's what we want to do. So we need to make sure we finish off this nerd here.
Display.
Make sure Byleth's topped off. We're healed. Just gonna go ahead and skip these enemy phases. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Alright, so Lawrence will probably die on this turn. I'm gonna go ahead and... Yeah, okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and move Byleth into range of Felix and aggro him.
Stay focused.
You want to try to be unequipped if you can, because if you have one range equipped, he'll gambit you. And once again, gambits are very bad.
Thank you.
As usual, try to keep playing next to Byleth for more bulk. There he is. He attacks us. Alternatively, you can use Flame as baits. Deaths in this map are not actually deaths because this is a mock battle. Like you can and should use Flame as baits to like aggro enemies. Okay, punch you. In fact, I think I'll just do that now. Okay. So we killed Felix. We kind of need to clean up the red units around here, and then we want to kind of slowly make our way towards this group of yellow units. Ideally, this guy right here will aggro these archers, and then he can just kind of start killing them for you. Ideally. Hopefully, he will. Okay, good. Good. Bane's dead. That's good. Well, not good, but we avoided another hit. Okay. So yeah, now you can kind of see these archers all attacking Jadu, the armored red unit. Okay, and then only 2 red units left in this area, so there's Sylvain and Mercedes. I'm gonna go ahead and try to attack Sylvain with Distorted Creator. I'm really low on use. Ooh, yeah, I can't one-round him. I'm gonna punch him instead then. Like everything I'm saying is kind of my thought process while I go through this chapter. I'm just kind of going through it more slowly so chat can kind of see what's going on. Like again, I just cannot go through every possibility of what can go wrong, what can happen.
Yeah.
I can only go over like the general plan, which is going smoothly, honestly. All right. If you watch my streams, I have a lot of really not GDQ friendly names for her, because she's horrible. She exists to waste your time. She will not attack you. She will constantly heal other units, and she has a chance to survive a lethal blow. So she's annoying. You can like try to get her to attack you, but a lot of times she just won't and will just waste your time. She actually sometimes runs away from you. Like I've seen her run away to this corner. So I have to waste like 30 seconds chasing after her, hitting her, and then running all the way back here. She sucks. Let's take the opportunity to punch her. Okay. All right, so these are the only 3 units left in the speedrun in this chapter. Usually these 2 units will be kind of on a duel with each other, which is good because they can actually kind of hit each other hard. So that's kind of nice. So I'll kind of leave them alone and just pick on each other. Hopefully Dudu goes after its Claude. Good.
From that.
Okay. That's Dudu's attack range. I'll use the Sorted Creator here.
I hate to say it.
Watch and learn.
I will also say that speedruns are very different from what a lot of people consider like LTCs or efficient play. LTCs are low turn counts, and there's like a big Fire Emblem community behind low turn counting, and a lot of people mix up speedrunning with that. They're very different. I'll just say that. Kind of opposites in a way. All right.
We must all do our part.
Ooh, that's not good. Oh well.
That is
All
the
right.
end.
I think that actually, so like all things considered, yeah, okay, 13 turns is pretty good. So like if I were speedrunning this seriously, I would have been very happy with this, honestly. Sometimes you can take 17, 18 turns if things go badly. And a lot of times that's just out of your control. I played that pretty well and I got lucky. So like 13 turns is very good for that map. Last thing to note, if you forgot the first cutscene with Edelgard, you can also pick this option for +5 points. I don't need it, but I'm just doing it to show that it exists. In case anyone misses it. Okay. We got a weapon for defeating a lot of units. We're not going to use it in this, what's it called, route. And now, the chapters will just start being really fast because that is the last, that's the last route map in this route. In other words, that's the last map where you have to kill everything. Almost every map from here on out is defeat the boss or defeat all bosses. So, oh yeah, there's our birthday. So that's a dialogue you skip if you set your birthday correctly. You're guaranteed to celebrate your birthday once, no matter what. Which is why we set our birthday to a month where we won't celebrate it on part 2. Because part 2 is set on a different year. And you only go through part of the calendar. Okay. So one benchmark we have to worry about. So like this run's generally pretty scripted with that one big exception of the map I just did. And like a lot of people tend to have this bit of a misconception of Fire Emblem speedruns, like you have to learn all these like improvisations everywhere. And yeah, there are cases where you do, but for the most part, these runs are not that different from like RNG manipulated runs, for example. Like these are very scripted runs. Like I was with the exception of like the monster and the map I just did. Like every map I just did is really scripted. Like, oh, if this happens, do this instead. Or just move to this tile, this tile, this tile. Or if something goes wrong, just reset. And that's really not that much different than... Yeah, like this run is very scripted for the most part, which is why like I think this is a relatively beginner-friendly speedrun overall. That being said, the reason why I bring that up is there is a strength benchmark we really wanted to hit, and that is 24 strength at this point. We unfortunately are 1 short. But there's a backup we can do that costs minimal time. All right, so this is another pretty quick map. We're gonna go ahead and deselect all of our units. And what we wanna do is, this map is where we just unlocked a bunch of new stuff in like the armory. Like now we can buy like a killing edge, just a high crit weapon, a magic sword, armor effective weapon, stuff like that. And our battalion guild also just got a lot of new battalions, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. So we're gonna pick Byleth and hire the Empire Pegasus Corps. And you can kind of see the stat changes. We're actually losing a little bit of attack but getting some extra hit. We actually want this battalion to be capped by the end of part 1. Because it's a flying battalion and we want to pass it off to Edelgard in part 2. So we want to start training this as soon as possible. We want to press L2, and then this is my favorite optimization in the speedrun. We're hiring a Seros Archers on Seros Archers. You might be wondering, why are you doing that? Well, the Seros Archers that Shamir has 48 experience. That means it's gonna level up, which is time loss. So the fastest way to avoid that is to just replace it with a 0 experience one like that. That's my find, and I'm proud of it. And you do it in almost every route. You just replace it with a 0 experience one. And there's also like another route you can do where you can like, so it is faster to hire another battalion on flame for a faster strat coming up in chapter 9. I'm not gonna do that because I'm just gonna focus on the more consistent, reliable strats, so I'll skip that. But keep in mind that exists. The guide will go over it.
Welcome.
Okay, so I mentioned Byleth has 23 strength. I go to her stat screen. There it is, 23 strength. You want 20, yeah, you want 24. No, it's 25 in this route. Yeah, you need 25 in this route. We're too short. If you're not at that benchmark, what we want to do is buy a armor slayer.
Is that the one? Thanks.
And you'll see why. So now we'll just start the battle. So first thing we do, move Edelgard up here, stride. You know the drill. Stride, move to this tile, smack this nerd, and turn ends. Okay, so the reason why the strength benchmark is important is because this is an armor knight that's really bulky. And we can't kill him. And he will gambit you. So like we have to just kill him outright. And we also need the same strength benchmark to kill this guy. And we're 2 strength short, and you can kind of tell that if we had exactly 2 more strength, this would barely kill. So we can't kill him with the Sword of the Creator, but what we can do is instead is use that convenient armor slayer we just bought. So this is kind of the strat you do if you're low on strength. By low on strength, I mean like 1 below average, because you need like at least 1 higher than average to do the faster strat. And now we just kill him. This is slower because you have to visit your armory, and you also get less experience on this battalion, which is bad. But like, you can't do much about that. You just have to deal with the luck you got. So you have to resort to a slower strat that is also ultimately going to hurt your reliability later on. But there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to deal with it. I'm just going to skip this because nothing happens. Okay, and now, oh yeah, this guy's a bad guy, by the way. But who cares? We'll just smack him. And map's done. Easy. Yeah, pretty straightforward map. Only thing to keep in mind is the armor slayer backup if you're low on strength. That's it. This is on normal difficulty, and it is the kind of difficulty where every bit matters. So, yes, it's on easy mode. Doesn't mean it's easy. There is a lot that can go wrong. So to put things into perspective, the record is a 1 hour, 9 minute run by me. And you can lose over a minute in chapter 7, the one with the 3 houses, just from luck. Like that's how much time you can lose, despite the fact that it's in a normal mode. You can lose over 20 seconds in the chapter 6, which is the map where we use Shamir to snipe the boss. You can lose over a minute in chapter 5 with the monster battle if things go disastrously horribly. You can lose another 20 seconds in this map as well in bad luck. So like, this is kind of on the easiest-ish difficulty, but at the speedrunning it, it's easy to beat the game on easy mode. It's not easy to speedrun it, and that's something to like make clear, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, because like games like this normally take like 15, 20 hours casually, at least. So doing it in 1 hour is, you know, a challenge.
All right, so we're actually visiting the monastery. It's not required, but there's something we really want to do here. So we want to go to the bulletin board, page down once, and pick the White Heron Cup. So for anyone not familiar with the Fire Emblem series as a whole, there is kind of a recurring class called a dancer or a songstress. They're kind of a support unit where you get to allow another unit to move again. In a strategy game where you're trying to quick clear stuff, that's really useful. And we have to win the dancing competition. And in order to win the dancing competition, we have to pick a student with 14 charm. Oh, nope, that's 10. That's 3. She can win, but there are other reasons we don't want to pick her. Instead, we're gonna talk to this guy right here.
Great work in Remire.
And this is why we play as female Byleth. Because if you're female, he's a free
I've
recruit.
been thinking, well, I'll be there.
So we just got a womanizer in our team. And conveniently enough, he has 14 charm, which is exactly enough to always win the dancing competition. 14 is a hard requirement. 13 or lower will always lose.
Great work.
So you want to make sure you talk to him again.
So, Professor.
Pick yes.
Me? Sure. Why not? I'll get out there, show off my moves, and drive the ladies wild.
I love the voice acting in this game. I love the voice acting in this game so much. Okay, so other routes would end the month right here, because we just got our dancer. But again, we need support points with Edelgard, so we just have a quick errand to make. We're gonna go to the Officers Academy. Run back here. We want to pick this blue thing up. That's a time-worn quill pen that Edelgard lost literally in front of her. Lost items. That's plus 2 support points. Give the quill to her that we just picked up in front of her. And then we give her the whetstone and then 2 more owl feathers. This is all 70 support points. Now she's at 198, I think. And we need 200, and we get plus 1 for each battle we're in together. So we're gonna hit 200 in 2 more battles. So that was just exactly enough to hit C+ support. So yeah, we're done. So we'll go ahead to the 26, go straight to the map.
Let me ask you something.
All right. We just recruited Sylvain. We're getting lecture questions as usual. You can kind of see why you want as few students as possible. The worst possible answer for Sylvain is the bottom, clean up your act, which is what you want to do because it's a speedrun. You want to be a horrible teacher.
Professor.
Next step, say yes to this. Change his goals to lance and riding, which is just a very convenient way to make him learn as little as possible. Why is she asking? I mean, that's fine, but it's not normally what happens. Whatever, not a big deal. Okay, and you want to skip this by pressing B. Now, we have the dancing cutscene. We cannot skip this, so skip through it by mashing A, B, A, B. And the students that the other houses pick is random. So the middle house is from the Blue Lions, and the right house is from the Golden Deer. And they picked Dedu and Claude, which is pretty hilarious.
Very well.
So yeah, get to watch them dance.
Oh, the black you're. I vote golden. The way you.
Oh, Claude got a vote! Claude got a vote! You don't have to freak out if someone else gets a vote, it's just random. But you're guaranteed to win. Alright, so now Sylvain is a dancer. So that costed a lot of time. Is it worth it? Heck yes. Very much yes. Oh yeah, that's why I got an extra. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Edelgard hit C+ support early because I showed off a backup conversation to get +5 support points, and that's more than enough to bump her up to C+. Yeah, that makes sense. You are correct. Okay.
How long? Got it.
So Linhardt just learned an important spell called Warp. We're not going to use it that much because Warp is slow because of its animation. Okay. I forgot that I was going to show off the safe strat, but I forgot to actually do it. That's okay. Well, I was supposed to with the safer strat, which is not a big deal, but with the safe strat, when I visit the monastery, I was supposed to talk to Ingrid, who's right by Sylvain, and request mission assistance from her. But you can see that in the guide. Not a big deal. If I don't do that, that means I'm going to be committing to a faster strat, and if I'm doing that, I want to hire this battalion on flame. Saros mercenaries. So I was supposed to do that at the previous map if I want to commit to the less reliable strat. Anyways, so we got our dancer. We want to go to the inventory, reclass, pick Sylvain, unique, and dancer.
Well, how do I look?
Oh, you look very dashing. And then last but not least, we're gonna go to the storehouse, and we got some tea leaves that we got from a quest. We wanna sell those, because in part 2, like you notice how we stop on the calendar every time we hit someone's birthday, and you can kind of skip it pretty quickly by just pressing B. In part 2, if you have any tea leaves at all, the game will have a really slow menu that scrolls up and says, would you like to have a tea party, or would you like to buy flowers? And then you can't just mash B through that, you have to manually select no by pressing up then A. So I don't actually know if it's strictly faster to sell tea leaves, but it just makes life a lot easier in part 2. So I recommend just selling all your tea leaves to make sure that it doesn't happen. So, okay. And now we're into chapter 9. So this is, in my opinion, a pretty fun map. There's a little bit of variance of what can happen, but the general gist is always going to be the same. It's a relatively scripted map in general. I also lied. This is another route map. You have to kill everyone on this map. It just is not a long one because it's ideally a 2-turn, 3-turn? Yeah, ideally a 3-turn. It's pretty quick. So we have monsters on this map. And you remember that a lot of trouble that we had with the monster before. Although these are like smaller monsters, they only have 2 health bars and they're relatively weak. So they're not as big of a deal, thankfully. But yeah, so what we want to do, move Flame there, move Shamir here, and then we'll start the map. So we'll start off with the stride. So move Edelgard here, Gambit, Byleth. That'll give everyone here +5 move. And then we have to go with, have Flame go with a Gambit here and try to hope that we land an 80% hit Gambit, which is a 92% chance. There is no backup for this, by the way. That's why I was hoping to show off like an Ingrid strat that's safer, because there's literally no backup for this. If you miss this, you're screwed. But it is a little bit faster to go for it.
To work.
But you can also see like the save strat in my record, actually, because I actually went for it in my record. So you can kind of see that in the guide and also other runs. And then now Shamir wants to move here and Gambit this monster. Have to land another 80. We landed it, cool. That makes this monster attack Shamir, which he wants because she has really chonky stats.
Stay focused.
Okay, so now we need Byleth to go here and punch this monster with the exposed tile. The barrier tiles always break when you Gambit them, assuming you hit, which is why we wanted Flame to use a Gambit, so now we can just punch this barrier. And now we get to show off the first dance. So we're gonna have Sylvain dance for Byleth, then punch this again. And the monster's dead. So 1 down, 3 to go. Last but not least, we'll have Linhardt go here. And then we're gonna actually use our first warp in the run. But before we do that, we wanna make sure Byleth has this weapon equipped at the top by doing a trade. Just make sure that she can counterattack the monster because we're gonna aggro this monster by warping her up to here. That monster will not attack you unless you like cross that line for whatever reason. So we have to do a warp to get that monster to attack us. So I'll let this enemy phase play out so you kind of see what's going on. And this monster is specifically weak to swords, which is why it's important for Byleth to counter it. We got a lucky crit. And if a monster is weak to a weapon, then you destroy the barrier in 1 hit, as opposed to 2. Thanks, Dad, for helping out. So next turn, finish this monster with Shamir.
Keep it up.
2 down, 2 to go. Sometimes this barrier will not be dead. Sometimes you will not have taken out a health bar. We got lucky and got a crit. If we didn't get lucky, you would hit it, then you'd have Sylvain dance for Byleth and just do it again. But we got lucky, so in this case, we would just move to this tile and smack it at range. Ooh. Don't have to, it's not guaranteed. Punch it? Oh yeah, okay. We did not crit, so we do actually have to dance again because our Byleth doesn't have very good strength. Slash it. We want to move Byleth in this tile with the Sword of the Creator again because that allows us to counterattack this monster. So just make sure you stay out of range of this monster with Sylvain. Okay, end turn. This monster will attack us. Good. We got a lucky crit, although the health bar is still not down because we've actually lost a bit of strength. Because this monster can lower your strength temporarily. Now you want to punch this barrier that we weakened, hopefully not die. Okay. Dance. And then finish it. Hopefully. We did not finish it. Alright, so we got unlucky there. I think one thing we can try to do is pokes this with flame, you burn some random numbers, and then just hope for a crit.
Be mindful.
Wait a second, no, we have Restore. Yeah, we have Restore. What we can do instead is use a spell called Restore, which fixes the status effect ailments of units nearby. And Byleth, her strength was lowered, but now that we fixed that, we can just finish this off. Okay, cool.
Sorry.
There, pretty fast map if I execute it quickly. I'll toss the Iron Bow, we don't need that. And we also got a really useful item called the Energy Drop. This is a permanent +2 strength stat booster. Spoiler alert, that died. So at this point, if you want to go fast, you kind of have to make the decision on if you want to use the Energy Drop on Byleth or not, and kind of have to do some kind of fancy math, because a lot of the setup is all about this boss kill coming up. Because this boss, I cannot emphasize how much of a pain she is. If you want, it is really important to kill her in one turn. Otherwise, you're losing like 20 seconds. You can two-turn her, and that's what I'm going to show off just for safety. But if you watch like a top run, it's almost a run ender to fail to one turn. And in order to one turn her, you need a lot of strength and magic. And in order to one-shot her at range, you need. It depends on the different stats, but like you need what's it called? You need effectively like 31 strength, 0 magic, because we're using a combat art that's based off of your strength and magic stat. In our case, we have 24 strength, 14 magic, so we are currently 3 short of killing her in 1 hit. If we use the Energy Drop, which is a +2, we will be 1 short. So that's not going to be enough to kill that 2 range, unfortunately. Alternatively, you can also try to kill her at 1 range, but the problem is she takes 3 less damage at 1 range, and you notice that the benchmarks are already really high to kill her at 2 range, so that's like almost impossible to hit at 1 range. The other bad part about this boss kill is that not only does she take 3 less damage at 1 range, she gets +30 avoid at 2 range. So like you either need to be really, really strength blessed to have a reliable hit on her, or you have to just go YOLO a hit and just hope you hit. Yeah. This route, thankfully, you have a relatively high hit rate on her at 2 range, despite the fact that she gets +30 avoid. So like thanks to the accuracy ring that we have and also the battalion we have that gives us +11, 12 hit around, we'll typically have around 80 displayed hits, which translates to around 90 hit because again, the 2 iron system, game ICU. Okay, so, but I'm not gonna do that. I'll just demonstrate a safer strat that you can do that's pretty safe. So you wanna go to the battalion guild and hire the Empire Archers. This is very slow, so like obviously don't do this. If you want to go fast, don't do this, but it is a very safe strat. Okay, so I'll show you what you want to go for, ideally, if you're trying to go for a 1 turn. Do you want to stride everyone? Move as far as possible. Have Sylvain
I'm on it.
dance for Byleth. And then you just go for the boss and smack her. So yeah, we're 5 short right now. And if you fail this, you lose a lot of time. Like, you just kind of have to go for it if you want a 1 turn. And like, oh, our hit rate sucks. What is our dexterity? Oh, right, we're using a different battalion. But yeah, like, we basically need 5 more strength with this battalion to kill her. I'll just go for it for funny, because if we crit... Okay, we didn't crit. It would have been funny if we got a crit there, but... That's okay. So that's the fast strat. You just go for it and one-shot her. You have to do some math to make sure you can actually one-shot her.
Look there.
Okay. But instead, what we'll do is a really safe strat, which is the Gambit.
Stay focused.
Because Gambit hit is not based off of the speed of the target, thankfully. So assuming our charm stat is decent, we're gonna have 90 hits on Kranya by using a Gambit. And this is a 98% chance to hit, so it's very, very good.
You're a
Unfortunately, this requires buying a battalion and also you're hard committing to a 2 turn. So this is a very slow strat, but it is very safe. Okay, do it again. Gambit her. There we go. All right, so that seems pretty fast, right? Like, that was just a 2 turn. That's not a big deal. If you one-turner, everyone keeps stride for the second part of the map. That's why it's so important to one-turner. So like if we one-turner, Byleth will be able to move all the way to this tile, and we'd be able to get our dancer all the way up there, and then we could just bonk the boss immediately. But we two-turned, so we actually don't have stride anymore. So since we're doing a two-turn, we have to do a bit of a... Not supposed to be there. Oh yeah, I messed up. Let me change that really quickly, because that unit's not supposed to be there. I haven't done the safe stride in a really long time, so it's been a while. I usually just YOLO it. So you should be like here then, with the weapon equipped then. Okay. Oops. Yeah, this is also a cutscene where Bile kind of goes Super Saiyan, sort of. For story purposes. Alright, so yeah. Okay, back to what I was talking about before. So we lost stride, and we want to bop this boss immediately, otherwise we're just going to get blocked off by a bazillion units. So it's just really important to just kill them immediately. So since we took a two-turn, we have to do a really convoluted setup. So we have to do a slow warp. And then move Flame up here. Then we move Edelgard to stride Flame, which includes Byleth and Sylvain. And now we can just go for the kill. That looked fast. If you one turn, you'd skip all of that setup. And that setup also loses you even more time later, because now Linhardt's going to get an extra level up later.
Somebody's asking how much time you save if you called for an Annette to help with the rally.
Not enough time, because monastery visits count. Bleh. You have to go to the monastery, and monastery visits cost way too much time. But in the Blue Lions route, you have Annettes with rally strength, and that makes the benchmarks really easy to hit for that fight. So that makes this fight actually really consistent with Blue Lions. The downside is that you have to commit to one turn. Like there's no strat to two turn that fight. So like the one turn is really reliable. But like, if you somehow get so screwed to the point where you can't kill Krania in one turn, your run's over. There's no backup. Whereas like with all the other routes, you are more likely to have to two-turn than one turn typically. But that's like the super safe strat if you don't want to like think about it too much and just want to get started. So that's what you want to do if you just want to do a fast-ish run and aren't going for like a top time. Just do a gambit. Oh. Our defense was so bad, we got defense. Cool. I'll explain what that did later, because that's going to be relevant in about 2 maps. But for now, just remember that I got defense when I became the Enlightened One. Because basically, remember how we were a thief this entire time? Mm-hmm. We just got our own unique class called the Enlightened One. And this class is actually pretty good. It's a pretty good class. So as I go to this date here, 222, I'll explain what the Enlightened One is. So it's basically a master level class, an endgame class basically. It has 6 move. The thief had 5, by the way. It has sword fair, which is plus 5 damage with swords. Okay? And what else? It gets plus 2 strength. Thief gave 0 strength, so that's already plus 7 damage. And I've already mentioned how this sword kind of sucked originally. It got upgraded. It used to have 7 might with 9 weight. Now it has 15 might with 7 weight. So we basically got a 5 damage buff with this, a 2 damage buff from our strength buff, and we also effectively got a 8 damage buff from the sword upgrade, and our personal ability got another 2 damage buff. So in total, we got like a 19 damage buff or something like that with that weapon. It's ridiculous. We're really, really powerful. So it's very much a much needed upgrade that we got. Okay, so we have to go to the monastery here because we have to talk to Edelgard in this location. This conversation will not happen unless you're at C+. So this is a check where you have to have a C+ support with her. And you want to pick the top option and go with her.
Thank you.
And we have more unskippable cutscenes because 3 houses.
Edelgard.
Do not forget this. Do not forget to talk to her. Otherwise, you will go on the wrong routes. This is... You have to do this, otherwise you're missing the Crimson Flower route. So.
Thank you. After we're up.
Alright. And unfortunately, like, when you talk to her there, you have to, like, commit to going with her or not going with her, which is really annoying because, like, if you go with her, you lose all of your activity points on that day. But if you don't go with her, you're screwing yourself out of the route. And, like, this game kind of runs off a persona system, and, like, casually, everyone kind of gets really hyper-focused on, like, managing their activity points. So, like, it's kind of a huge downer if you just happen to talk to her and haven't saved it. It's like, oh, well, I either lose all my activity points or I just missed the Edelgard route. Cool. So, it's a bit of a shame, but it do be like that. Okay, before we start the next map, this entire time, Edelgard has kind of been our stride bot, which means she's just been the unit that uses stride at the start of every map. She's gonna change roles. We're gonna give Shamir the Zero Holy Monks now. Shamir is gonna be our stride bot, so we want to make sure Shamir has the Zero Holy Monks. And since I did a really safe route of giving Bios to Empire Archers, we want to give her back the Empire Pegasus Corpse. This one right here. So, make sure you do that. Alright, so spoiler alert. Pretty big spoilers, although if you're watching a speedrun tutorial stream on this game, you probably, and you care about spoilers, you probably shouldn't be here, to be blunt. But big spoiler alert, big spoiler warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Edelgard betrayed us. So, yep, so now we have to kill her. He is the Flame Emperor, one of the antagonists this entire time. So to defeat her, we wanted to do a quick swap, so we swap Flame and Shamir. And we start the battle. Alright, so we need to go all the way down to beat her, and this is a ledge, so we have to go all the way around like this to beat her. We're gonna do that in 2 turns. So Shamir is our stride bot. Move Shamir, stride Linhardt, which will include our Dancer Sylvain and Byleth. We're gonna move Linhardt to this tile. Don't worry, he'll be fine as long as he has heal equipped, if you did that all the way back in chapter 4. So make sure you did that. Then Byleth moves down here. Bops the Armor Knight. She almost one-shots this guy, by the way. That's how strong she is. That's how strong she is. She is so strong. You dance for Byleth, like this. And then we have Byleth finish off his Armor Knight again. Nice crit. And we end turn. So this chapter kind of has a side objective where like all these enemies are going to run around and swipe these crest stones, and the game tells you if you prevent any crest stones from escaping from this tile, you will get a reward. The game is lying to you, by the way. You will not get the reward if anyone escapes. So that's a fun fact. That's a fun little fact. Which you can make it happen, because if you happen to like immobilize any of these thieves, then they won't get a crest stone and they'll just start running away. And if they happen to escape without a crest stone, the game will think that you lost a crest stone. So you will lose out on a really, really, really important upgrade. Casually. So yeah, don't immobilize them. Make sure you kill all of them. Or quick clear the map. Alright, so normally we have to kind of go up these stairs and all the way around. Screw that. We have Linhardt. We have Warp. Yeet! Oh, cool. We just skipped a bunch of stairs. So yeah, that level up wouldn't have happened if we did a 1-turn on Grania, but we got a 2-turn, so we lost time with the level up. And one last thing, we barely kill Edelgard. That's because our Byleth strength kind of sucks. 26 strength is barely the benchmark to 2-shotter. So yeah, you need at least 26 strength to 2-shotter without relying on like a crit or something. The good news is, if you're this strength screwed, chances are you bought the Armor Slayer anyways. So if you're strength screwed, you can just Armor Slayer her, and that works too.
Professor, in truth.
Unfortunately, she got a 20% chance to heal herself a bit, which meant we did not kill her.
Stay focused.
So we'll Armor Slayer her instead, and that should be enough. There we go. Oop. And everything you get, you just toss into the convoy. Don't need it. So yeah, warp is just a really good spell in general, although funnily enough, you want to avoid it if you can in speedruns. Because it has an animation and it gives you experience. Whereas like low turn counts will abuse the crap out of warp because like you don't care about time loss. You want to milk as much experience as you can in LTCs. So like LTCs, again, low turn counts, and speedruns are really similar in that their goal is to beat the game quickly. One is with time and one is in turns. So in that aspect, they're also complete opposites because LTCs want to like milk as much experience as possible every single turn, as long as it doesn't cost them a turn. Whereas in a speedrun, it's the complete opposite. You want to avoid that and even lose turns if it's faster to do so. Okay. Anyways, we have an important cutscene. We will protect Edelgard because we are on the Crimson Flower route. Pick the bottom option, and now we are finally officially on the Crimson Flower route. Skip everything. Fun fact, we just hit a bug. We just hit a bug.
Oh no.
Yeah, so in this game, in time skip, well, we're not a time skip. In the other routes, in time skip, or on this map in this route,
That was in.
your House Lord and Hubert, if their authority level is below C, it will automatically get bumped up to C, which is really convenient, honestly, because Edelgard's authority was like D+ this entire time. She just got it up to C for free. Same with Claude, same with Dimitri, and same with Hubert. If he was alive, he's not. Well, no, he's not dead. He's expelled. Yeah, so yeah, you can kind of see authority right here. Problem. Most casuals will probably have them at like A authority, A+ authority, and you would think that this authority rank wouldn't get touched. Which would make sense, because like you're higher than C, so like you should just stay at A. You will still stay at your same rank, but you will lose all of the experience you built up to that rank. So if you just happen to have like about 1,000 authority experience to S+, you will lose all of it. And the game doesn't do anything about it. You just lose it permanently.
That's rough.
It's in a vacuum, it's a really bad glitch. It's really bad. Like you just permanently lost out on so much experience because like your skill ranking for her rank scales up exponentially basically. In reality, almost no one will notice because like at the point you go past A authority, you don't really care with your House Lords.
Sure.
So like no one really notices it. So like it's not really a big, in a vacuum, it's a really big deal, but like in practice, no one cares really. This is just kind of a fun little fact. So yeah. Okay. So we are on the last chapter of part 1. Part 2 will be very quick. So we want to deselect everyone and let's just do a safety save just in case. Okay, this map is a route map, technically, but it is actually not a route map because if it becomes a defeat the boss map and you defeat the boss up here. You can change the objective if you defeat this boss, and this boss. Oh yeah, Flame left our party, by the way. Or you wait until turn 12. Guess which one's faster? Waiting until turn 12. Why? Good luck killing him. He has like 40 defense or something. You're not killing him.
Stay focused.
So basically our goal is to kind of just kill everything here that might threaten Edelgard and just blitz our way and stall up until turn 12. That's basically our goal. So nothing super interesting is going on here. This is again a pretty scripted chapter. We just kind of want to move Violet up, kill these armor knights. If you have the armor slayer, use it. It's just convenience. Might as well. Just make sure Edelgard's out of danger because she's kind of defenseless. We actually just hit a trigger to spawn a bunch of reinforcements near us. It's unavoidable. We can't like skip it because we can't fly. So all those 5 enemies have to spawn, just kill all of them by punching them. Boop. Punch that one. End turn. You'll usually kill the rest of them besides the archer. And also, last thing to note, we have these green units that we don't control, kind of helping us out. We want him to die as soon as possible. So we want Flame to kill him, by the way. And we want these green units to die as quickly as possible. They don't actually die, they just retreat. And that's because they just waste time. Even though we're skipping like all the enemy phases, we want to skip the other phase dialogue. So we want him to die as quickly as possible. Okay. It's good so far. Move up here. Punch this nerd. Okay, come on. Thank you for dying. Okay, now we move into this tile. And again, if you're low on health anywhere, you just heal with a vulnerary. You can grab it from the convoy. We're doing pretty well. We've been dodge tanking despite our bad defense, so we've been doing pretty well. Okay, now we have to take out Sedith. You need 27 strength to two-shot him. If you don't have 27 strength, you want to start weakening him on the previous turn, like here, on turn 6. And you also can't YOLO a crit because he has something that negates crits. We're 1 over that benchmark, so we can just slash him. Okay. Okay, and then we want to open this door. We can open this door because this is a door key that we got all the way back in chapter 6. The map where we used Shamir to cheese the boss across the wall. We want to keep that door key the entire time just to open that door. And then we just run up here. If you want to be safe, just kind of keep an eye on Edelgard. Make sure like there's no one moving towards her. She's fine, so we can ignore her now. Move up. Move up here. This tile gives you 30 avoid, 2 defense. The boss spawns on it, so we just kind of yoinked it from her. So thanks for the heal tile. Now we just kill her. Goodbye. Okay, and that's part 1. All right. So now we just kind of skip. We just kind of went through a 5-year time skip. The game doesn't exactly do a great job of explaining it. You just kind of fall in a pit and you're asleep for 5 years for some reason, and then now you are reunited with your house, basically. All right, so
Interesting.
yeah. So a lot of stuff just happened gameplay-wise in those 5 years. So if you remember, like from 10 to 15 minutes ago, our Byleth gained 1 defense. And that's because like when you reclass into a new class, like when you become able to go into a class, like certified into a class, every class has their own list of stats, basically, called the base stats. So like the base stat of the Enlightened one, which is Byleth's main class now, is 12 defense. If your stats are lower than those stats, your stats will permanently go up to those stats. Our Byleth had 11 defense. The Enlightened one class had 12 defense. So she just gained 1 point of defense to go up to 12.
That face is certainly...
That seems pretty minor. Right? That's pretty minor? Not that big of a deal?
In general, I would say that, but the math in this game has been wonky, so...
Yeah, well, 1 defense isn't that big of a deal. So, I'm going to take a little bit of time to explain where I'm going with this. Edelgard has been kept at level 1 this entire game. She just became certified into the Armored Lord class as a level 1 unit. This is a level 20 based class. So, the Armored Lord has 17 strength, 12 dexterity, 38 HP, 17 defense. Edelgard at level 1 normally has, let's see, I need to pull up her base stats. Edelgard at level 1 has 13 strength, 29 HP, 5 dexterity, 6 defense. So she went from 29 HP to 38 HP, 13 strength to 17 strength, 5 dexterity to 12 dexterity, so she got 7 levels of dexterity for free. She went from 6 defense to 17 defense, so she also just gained 11 defense. All as a level 1 unit. And in normal difficulty only, any student below level 20 gets auto-leveled up to level 20. So Edelgard not only got like the stats of a level 20 class, but she also got 19 levels on top of that. And you abuse the same mechanic with Claude and Dimitri for the other houses too. And this is critical, because basically Edelgard has like level 30 stats as a level 20 unit, basically. And like, if it wasn't obvious, she's gonna be carrying the rest of the run with her broken stats. Okay, so we're in time skip. Skip to the month. And then we have a little bit of base management to do. You don't technically have to do this now, but it's a good habit to do it anyway. So we're gonna go to the inventory. go to Edelgard's inventory, throw everything away besides the Amir, which is her exclusive weapon. And if you haven't used energy drop, you want to use it on Edelgard, which is again the item for a permanent +2 strength booster. And if you want to yoink the accuracy ring from Byleth. And then you also want to just use energy drop immediately. Just use it. And then you want to go to abilities, remove the top ability, sword prowess, go to battalions, select Edelgard, and then trade it with Byleth. So now Edelgard has that Empire Pegasus Corpse that Byleth's been using for the last 30 minutes, and Byleth has the Supreme Armored Corpse that Edelgard came with for free. And now we will go ahead to the certifications. Edelgard, Wyvern Rider. And this is why we've been setting Edelgard to like Axis and Flying, so she has enough ranks to certify as a Wyvern Rider. And Wyverns are kind of the most broken class in the game. They did not bother balancing this game at all. I'll be a little bit blunt, because they're stupid broken. They're so broken. And then, we go to the marketplace, Armory, buy Edelgard, Silver Axe, Brave Axe. Explain what those do later. For now, we'll go on to the mission. So, as Halo Fire said, like most of part 1 is basically a Byleth solo, and then part 2, you kind of transition over to your House Lord in most routes. The exception is Silver Snow, which is the same route as this, except you betray Edelgard, or rather, don't side with her. Instead, you use Sedith, the other Wyvern Rider that you get for free, who isn't as strong as the House Lords, but he has his own set of tools to make him stand out. So basically, you use like a super flyer in part 2 of all 4 routes. I say that as I don't use the flyer in this map. Alright, so again, reminder, Shamir is our stride bot now. And the objective in this map is to defeat this boss right here, Judith. We also got another unit named Yuritsa, who is really good. Like, his stats are really good. 32 strength. Byleth has 29 strength, and you get this guy for free. Like, holy moly, 27 speed. And he has Lance Bear. He's just really strong. He gets plus 20 hit when he attacks something. So, and he's just really convenient for this map because conveniently enough, he can use magic as well and get this Armor Knight out of the way. And then we'll go ahead to Sylvain, our dancer, make him move again. I live, that's his quote. Attack Judith, the boss, with Decisive Serial, which has 100 hits. Alright, map done. The best part about this is Yuritsa did not level up. He almost did, but he didn't. Reminder, level ups are bad. And we're not going to use them anymore for the rest of this run. So that's really convenient because we just wasted a bunch of experience on him. Which sounds really weird because that's the opposite of what you want to do casually. You want to milk as much experience as possible, right? Not true in a speedrun. You want to waste experience. So typically speaking, the standard categories don't use paid DLC. Yuritsa is a DLC character, but he's also free, so he's allowed in speedruns. But like the paid DLC characters like Anna, why would you use her? She's terrible in this game. Or the Ashen Wolves, which is a 4th house. They are not allowed. Unless you use them in the DLC category, which you would never use them anyways, because the DLC category is basically the same as any % category, except with some DLC items and stat boosters. Right, so you'll notice the pattern here. We're just going to skip to the month. We're going to get some lecture questions.
Let me ask.
We want to answer the worst answer possible. These questions are different from part 1. So you have to keep that in mind. Although conveniently enough, the worst answer for Sylvain is the bottom answer in both part 1 and part 2. So that's convenience. It's bottom for both Edelgard in part 1 and part 2 as well. Shamir's worst answer is middle in part 1, part 2. Yeah, I think that's it. And Linhardt his worst answer is bottom in part 1, middle in part 2. Again, it's not really a big deal because like if you give someone a neutral or a good answer, you see like a motivation meter animation and stuff, and you lose like a second. It's not a big deal, so like we wouldn't really obsess over it. So, all right. Next map. This game gets a lot of criticism for being very incomplete and rushed, and it's kind of true because we're already on. So we're at war in part 2 against the other nations. This is the second map of part 2. We're killing Claude in this map. one of the main characters. That's how rushed this route is. So it's a shame because this game is really incomplete, but I still love this game, and that's what matters. So this route specifically is like really short. Like this map only has 4 months in part 2 and 4 less maps than the other routes. Whereas the other routes have 8 months of gameplay. So almost double the number of months you get to play with. So yeah, there's a reason why this route is kind of like considered a super rushed route. But it is what it is. We got the game we got. And it's still awesome, so it's all good.
There are 3 gates.
Alright, our objective is to defeat the boss. He's all the way up here. All the way up there. So how are we going to reach him? Well, first of all, we're going to move Byleth 3 up, 1 right. And we're going to do Unite. That makes all of our units surround Byleth and forces Yuritsa to go above Byleth.
Now it's our turn.
So, oh yeah, we aggro this Golden Gear student like City to attack us. She's going to use Dark Spikes on us. Alright, see ya. Yuritsa died. That's really good because if Yuritsa dies, that means all the experience he got goes with him. And that's good.
Let's clean up.
We don't want experience. Alright, so Lysithea conveniently killed the Yuritsa for us. And now we are going to use our Super Edelgard to kill Lysithea with the Silver Axe. We're going to level up, and look at these stats. These stats are like better than Byleth's, but 10 levels lower. Alright, we will recruit Lysithea, because you can actually recruit her in this route in part 2. Okay, so mounted units in this game, I never really went over that, have the ability to move again, basically. Like, you'll be using their remaining movement. So like, if Edelgard has like 10 move and she uses 5 move, attack something, she can move 5 tiles again. So I'm gonna use the remaining of my movement to move up to this tile here. Okay, and that's a pretty far away. This is a little dangerous. Oh right, Sylvain has Stride also. He has 11 movement thanks to Stride. So let's dance for Edelgard. I still can't reach him. That's okay. So we kind of have this weapon called the Amir. Just look at the stats on this. They look pretty good, right? Do you think so? Okay. Remember like an hour ago I was talking about this weapon that's really good with 22 might? This is even better. Its hit rate's not that great, but it's really, really good. It also has this combat art called Raging Storm, which gives you plus 14 might and 10 hits. So that's a lot of damage. So that's a pretty good combat art. That's basically a you die combat art. So we'll go ahead and do it on this poor warrior. Nice. And we get to use the rest of our remaining movements. Whee! Oh, I can move her again. Cool. All right, see ya, Claude. Silver Axe, Monster Breaker. That's what you want to do. So pick your Silver Axe, pick Monster Breaker, you kill him in 1 hit. So, for those not as familiar with this game, that combat art we just used is called Raging Storm. Not only is it a really good combat art, it allows you to move again. It is really broken. Really broken, and allows you to just cheese maps so badly. Also, the game says if you hit with Raging Storm, you get to move again. The game's lying to you. If you miss, you still move again. So, yeah, it's very broken. And this is weapon and combat art is why Edelgard is considered like the best unit in the game, gameplay-wise, for good reason. Like, it's just so broken. And the weapon is good, the combat art is good, the ability to move again is so ridiculous. And it just works really well with her route too, because like almost every map in her route like rewards that, since like your goal is to just go around and defeat specific targets. So it is really broken. It is kind of like the Gale Force from... It is similar to Gale Force from Awakening, which is basically you attack and you move again. Except in this case, it's even better because you get to do it more than 1 time. You can do it as many times as you want. The downside is it uses up weapon uses. So the Amir only has 20 uses, and Edelgard uses 4 uses per Raging Storm. So you only have up to 5 uses before it breaks. But you can use all 5 of them in 1 map if you want to. You can also use it once in a map, and then 4 more times in another map, and so on. So it is better than Gale Force. With a bit of a limitation, but that's okay, because it's very easy to repair.
I guess I'll...
Okay, so we are almost halfway done with part 2. These maps will go by so quickly. They will go by so quickly, trust me. Okay, so there is one strength benchmark that Elgar wants to hit for this map, and that is 35 strength. I think she's at 33, so she just needs 2 strength level ups, and her chance of getting strength is 65%, I think. It's normally 55, but her class gives her plus 10%, so it's a 2/3 chance to get strength. Compared to the Byless, which was 45, so it's much nicer. You'll typically get 4 level ups before you need 35 strength for this map. So this map is one of several defeat all bosses map, and it's a really cool objective in my opinion, because it's not like a slogfest where you have to kill every enemy on the map, but it's also like interesting because it's not also as trivial as say, oh, go to this unit and just bop it. No, we had to bop multiple units. All right, you want to move Sylvain here and start the map. All right, so objective of this map, defeat this sniper. She looks generic. She is generic. That's because she replaces Shamir. If you did not recruit Shamir, this will be Shamir. Oh, fun fact. This sniper is a cheater. She has +1 bow range, and she also has +2 bow range, and which is impossible. So she literally has 5 bow range. So you have to defeat the sniper. You have to defeat Sedith again. And you have to cut Alois back here. And if you hit a trigger point, Flame will spawn you, and you have to kill her as well. We don't want it to happen. We only want to kill 3 bosses, because killing 3 bosses is faster than killing 4. So we'll have Shamir go here, and then stride Edelgard. Edelgard will move down to this tile. If your Edelgard is strength screwed, you can go ahead and bonk this assassin for some experience, which is another chance at strength. Okay, we're probably fine on strength. We need 2 strength levels, and we'll usually get about 4, so we're probably fine. The odds are in our favor. So move her to this tile. Sylvain will move to here, dance for her. Now we move down here, bop this replacement, and we want to pick the Amir and Raging Storm again. Boop. We can recruit Alois, but it costs time. And wouldn't really help, so. Now we're going to Raging Storm Sedith. The only thing that can go wrong here is if he 19% crits us, which he did not, thankfully. It will not kill him. We have to Raging Storm him twice. All right, we'll Raging Storm him again. And he's dead. And now we move auto to Alois. And now we kill Alois with the Brave Axe. So this is the 35 strength benchmark. You need 35 strength to kill him before he counterattacks you. The Brave Axe allows you to attack twice per hit, which is similar to Gauntlets. But if you don't have enough strength, you're not going to kill him before he counterattacks, and you're not dodging that 94. So good luck with that. So that's why 35 strength is the benchmark you want to hit. All right, map done. All done in 1 turn. Because Raging Storm is broken. So we used up 3 Raging Storm uses in this map. And we also used 1 in the Claude map, so we only have 1 use left. And we're halfway done with part 2. So Edelgard, at this point, the game's gonna be like, oh, Edelgard can now become her master class, the what's it called? The Emperor class, which is kind of the upgrade to her Armored Lord class, which was the one she got for free and got her stats buffed because of it. Spoiler alert, we're not gonna use it because it's kind of has 5 movement. We kind of have a Wyvern that we can fly all over the world with, so why bother? And this map is one of the coolest maps in the speedrun, probably, because it's another defeat all bosses map. We have to kill 5 bosses. And we also have a side objective. Alright, so first things first, we got this class. We're just gonna put her back on a Wyvern, so put her back on a Wyvern. And then go to the mission date.
May I ask?
Bottom.
So
Yeah, we only have 3 maps left in the run, so they will go by pretty quickly. And like part 2 is like really interesting because it's like in all the routes, especially this route, that's when you have like all of your broken tools and your like super lord built up, and you can just like cheese every map and
I'm really
so quickly, and it's just so fun to do. The downside to it is that the downtime to gameplay ratio is kind of even more skewed because you're not really reducing the amount of downtime you have. And you're playing the map so quickly. But that's okay though. Part 2 is very fun still. So yeah, you can't really put Byleth on a Wyvern. Well, you can, but that costs a lot of time in a speedrun because the only way for Byleth to gain flying rank is to do faculty training quests. And that's like her main weakness as the main character. She cannot gain skill experience through goals like everyone else can. So we pretty much don't want to change her to put her on a flying class. It just takes too much time. Okay, so we want to move Linhardt and swap him with Shamir. Select Sylvain, move him there, and start the map. All right, this is another pretty big map, and our objective is to defeat 5 bosses. We have to kill Felix here, his dad, Gwendol, Ingrid, and Cornelia. And that's a lot of distance we have to cover. And we also have a side objective. We want to break all of the barriers of this golem, because this golem will give us the materials we need to repair the Amir, which is the weapon we use for Raging Storm. So we have a lot to do. So
Clean up.
Shamir is going to stride everyone up, and then we're going to have Byleth go to this tile and gambit this entire group. If we miss, we didn't miss, but if you did miss, you would Divine Pulse, do a different action, and then try again. So now these enemies are all stun locked, which is what we want, especially Felix, because he kind of kills everyone. Edelgard will move up and kill Felix's dad with the Brave Axe. Okay. And then we want to go ahead and dance for Edelgard and have her move again.
I'll return the favor.
Wait, hold on. I might need to... Okay. So, next step we want to take, hopefully that was kind of smooth. Anyways, next step we want to take is have Edelgard move here. And then use the Axe of Zoltan with the combat art on Gwendol. This is a weapon we just picked up, by the way. We just picked it up on Alois. It's a really good weapon because it's sort of accurate and it's effective against armor units. So it actually, when a weapon's effective on a unit, it has triple might. So that 17 might just became 51 on this guy. So it kind of just kills him in one hit, even though he has like 40 defense. Okay. And then we want to move her there. Now we want to move Linhardt up here, and then we want to do an auto battle charge, and that'll make Lysithea, who we just recruited, kill that Cavalier for us. Not much is going to happen here. All right, next step. We need to kill Felix. So we're going to move Byleth here and attack with the Sublime Creator Sword and use Sublime Heaven. This looks like a pretty good odd to kill him. The unfortunate thing is he kind of has this, which gives him a pretty high chance to half damage he takes. So let's see if it happens. It did not happen. If he didn't die from that, you have Lysithea nearby to finish him off. And if that doesn't work, you can have Sylvain move up here, dance for Byleth, and have her finish him off. Regardless of that, you want to move Linhardt up here. You can have him heal Byleth if you need to. I recommend it if you're new, because there's a high chance Byleth dies to all of this if you're unlucky. And then move Edelgard all the way up. End turn, nothing happens. Move Edelgard all the way up. This will bring Ingrid towards us. And then we can finish her off next turn. And yeah, she kind of hits you like a truck. She's really scary. Now next step is we're gonna have Linhardt do a warp here and warp Byleth up. So now you want to pay attention to his warp range. It's really uncommon, but if Linhardt has 3 warp range, which means he can only warp up to this tile, then you need to make him a bishop next map, because that'll give him 4 warp range, and you need 4 warp range next map. But he has 5 warp range right now, actually, so that's actually really nice. Doesn't really help you per se, but it just means he got lucky with his time skip level ups. So warp Byleth. If he has 3 warp range right now, it doesn't really matter. You can warp her to this tile, and that's fine. You just have to make sure you make him a bishop next map. Now we want to move Byleth up here, go to the convoy, and take the Hexlock shield, and then do a gambit. Good. And that's important. The Hexlock Shield is really useful because it gives you +4 resistance. And everything around you uses magic. So basically you're taking 12 less damage from everything here. And there is a very realistic chance Byleth just dies to everything if she's resistance screwed. Last thing we'll do, auto battle charge. Basically the goal of that is to have Shamir move up closer to the golem. And with this specific layout, the gambit that Byleth did cracked every shield on his monks, on his golem, destroyed the shield, and then Byleth destroyed this shield on the enemy face. Actually, yeah, I'll demonstrate that really quickly. That's a magic attack, we dodged. Yeah. Okay, now the upper left barrier just broke. So now 2 barriers are destroyed and the 2 other barriers are weakened, which means they only need 1 more hit to take out. And that's where Shamir comes in, because she can actually shoot this barrier across the building because she's a sniper and she can attack with curve shot at 4 range. Do that. Then dance for her. Do it again on the other barrier. That's unfortunate. If Shamir only does 1 damage and this thing activates Aegis, you tink, do no damage. If that happens, you don't really have a choice but to try to burn random numbers and hope for the best later. So we'll just go ahead and move Byleth first and finish off this boss. Oop. With Sublime Heaven. And then we'll try this again. Thank you. So now berries are broken. We just got 4 Agarthium. And we just finished the map with Edelgard. Finish off in grid. So how often are backup strats needed because of level up luck? Not as often as you think. There's a few key parts where you have to bear in mind certain strength benchmarks. Like there's one I already mentioned all the way back in chapter 8, where Byleth needs 25 strength to not need to buy an armor slayer, for example. For a newer runner, that's not going to be too big of a deal. So there is an important benchmark coming out for Edelgard though. And assuming she has 40 strength, she needs at least 23 speed or else he runs over. The odds are very much in your favor, and she's going to get like 5 more levels before she needs the benchmark. But like the minimum speed she needs for the last boss is 23 speed, assuming 40 strength. Because again, like strength kind of matters with how you calculate speed with weapon weight. But generally speaking, she'll be around the 40 strength mark. So 23 speed is basically the magic number that she needs to be at. And I think she's at 25 actually, so she's doing pretty well. Right, this is the last month in the game, and we have 2 more maps. So. And this is the map where it's a scripted map in the speedrun if things go well. If things do not go well, your backup strat is to undo it, burn random numbers, and hope for the best. And it sucks.
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah. So like that's why like I talk about, especially on my stream, I talk about like this misconception of improvisation, because a lot of people, I mean, I'll be a little bit honest, there's a lot of complaints from viewers, understandably to a degree, about how like some Fire Emblem speedrunners are like RNG manipulated, so it's really lame or boring. And I don't entirely blame people for that, but at the same time, like most Fire Emblem runs are like that, even without manipulation. This game's no different. Like 90% of the speedrun is not improvised. It's a script that you follow. And if something goes wrong, you either already have a backup that you have planned, or you reset, or just try it again. And that's not really improvisation. You just literally try again. And if you, from that kind of perspective, it's really not much different from RNG manipulated runs. It's just that you just lose time if something goes wrong and you just try it again.
Yeah.
But like the sentiment is understandable, so I don't really blame people for that. But yeah. So this map is another defeat all bosses chapter. There will be a boss on this tile. She sucks. Spoiler. We have to take out Dedu. He kind of has 50 protection, so good luck killing him. And he also is immune to armor effective weapons, so good luck killing him. We have to kill Dimitri, who is a protagonist on the Blue Lions. And we have to take out Rhea, who spawns here. And we have to kill this unit, who is actually Sylvain. But, well, this is actually Sylvain if we never recruited him. So yeah, we have a lot to do.
Let's clean
So
up.
we're gonna go ahead and do a stride as usual. Violet's role is to move up and take care of the boss up here. So we're gonna move her up here, and we want to have her equip gauntlets because we don't want her to counterattack anything at 2 range.
For the
And then there's not much going on in this first turn here. We just move Edelgard here, Linhardt here. Sylvain will move here and dance for Edelgard. And then we want to just kill what I like to call the bolting insert curse word, because he kind of just kills someone because she has a 10 range bolting tome that just zaps anyone and kills them in 1 hit. So we're gonna repay the favor and just smack her with a mere Raging Storm. Boop. She's not required to kill, but she's just very convenient to kill because she just ruins your day if she exists. And that's our last Raging Storm. But we get to move again, and we'll go ahead and bonk this Great Knight, who is Sylvain's replacement. We'll do the same thing that we did to Gwendol, which is Axel Zoltan, Monster Breaker. Dead. Keep an eye on Edelgard's stats. We are doing really well in speed. 27 speed is fantastic. And then we move her here, and end turn. I'll just skip everything because nothing interesting happened. So this boss just spawned, Rhea, and this boss just spawned, Mercedes, and if you remember what I said about her, she is kind of the troll character of the speedrun. She likes to waste time in every route, including her own. She sucks. I'm not memeing. She will waste your time in Blue Lions as well. She sucks. Anyways, so the first thing you want to do is take out Rhea, use the Brave Axe,
an answer. I don't.
boop. And that makes a lot of enemy units retreat, which is convenient. Because those paladins that are just blocking our way are now gone, so we can just move up here. And then we want to move Byleth 3 tiles up, exactly. That'll make these 2 Armor Knights attack Byleth from this tile and this tile. And then that'll make her force her to move and attack us off of this tile. And we want her to be off of this tile because it gives her 30 avoid, which is really, really bad. All right, so now we have this group of flunkies here, and they have another important role to play. And this is why we want Linhardt to have 4 warp range, which this one has 5. So we want to stride everyone up again. Lysithea, who we recruited a while ago, will move here. Sylvain will dance for her. Linhardt will move above Lysithea. You need at least 4 warp range for this to reach. If you have warp her here, which is 3 warp range, she's not going to be able to reach. You need to warp her here or above. That works too. And then now Lysithea is in range to take out Dudu. We need to kill Dudu before we enter this area, otherwise he turns into a monster, and monsters are very anti-speedrun. We do not want to deal with monsters. We'll just do an auto battle, and that'll make the AI have Lysithea kill Dudu for us. And she uses magic, which basically ignores his 50 defense, so. End turn. This is the scary part because Byleth takes quite a bit of hits here. Yeah, 23 hit damage. Ow. Okay. And nothing else of interest happens. Oh, okay. Linhardt died, but we don't need him anymore. All right, so the last things we need to do is kill her and kill him. So we'll go ahead and... So, these can go very wrong. And if either of these kills go wrong, you have options to burn random numbers with. If they go wrong, you want to undo it and then burn some random numbers and try again. So Lysithea can attack a random mage to burn some random numbers. You can have Shamir attack a monster randomly, and if that doesn't work, you can dance for Shamir and attack a monster randomly again. Basically, your improvisation for if something goes wrong on this map is try it again. Try it over and over and over again. If it doesn't work, the game hates you. We'll go for this. The Dimitri is very dodgy. So that's why that 70 hit looks pretty good. I'll just show those odds again.
For the Empire.
So that looks pretty good. Keep in mind this Edelgard is very speed blessed, so normally she will not quadruple attack him. She will only hit him twice, which means you have to basically land 2 8-ish hits on him in a row. Basically hit 2 Pokemon Hydro Imps in a row. Yeah. You can kind of see why that's kind of not as reliable. And then we get to the biggest...
I must fulfill
63 hit. All right, so yeah, those odds don't look very good, right? Like, what do you think, Church? What do you think? Does this look good?
No, not particularly.
You have to land 2 Pokemon Thunders in a row because that's about a 70% chance. If you miss at either of them, she kills you.
Oh, jeez.
That's not the end of it. That's not the end of it. She has a 14% chance to survive a lethal blow at 1 HP.
Oh my god.
That's not the end of it. She has a 18% chance to half damage she takes.
Okay.
That's not the end of it. She also has... Yeah, she sucks. She sucks. She just sucks. You can also go for this. And this is probably more reliable because you only have to land like an 85 hit roughly. But like, again, like, you have to just pray that she doesn't get a 14% chance to survive and also a 18% chance to take half damage. 2 in a row. So, hey, there it is. Oh, okay, that worked. Okay, we got really lucky there. We got really lucky there. So she half damage on the first hits, and she should have killed us on the counter. But Byleth has a 5% chance to activate a secondary effect of her attacks, which prevents a counterattack. And that's what happened. We got that 5%. So we got really lucky there. But yeah, Mercedes just... If you speedrun the game, you will hate her.
You're mad.
You will hate her if you speedrun this game because she just exists to waste your time in every route. She's just the anti-speedrun character. Even in her own house, because like in your own house, there are specific characters that take way longer to load if you get their lecture question at the start before you kill everyone off or expel everyone. Mercedes loses you over 20 seconds.
Jeez.
She's bad. And she's not only that, but she's also like considered the worst healer in the game among 3 houses players because she's just obsoleted by the other healers because she doesn't have anything to offer, and she also has a lower faith rank than all of them. Whereas Marianne offers silence, Linhardt has warp, Mercedes doesn't have any of that. She has fortify, which is a good spell, to be clear, but it's also less useful the better you get at the game because, casually speaking, like the best way to play the game is usually to rely on low HP strats because you can get a lot of really broken skills like plus 50 crit, plus 8 attack, automatically kill an enemy for at low HP, and stuff like that. And that anti-synergizes with Fortify. But yeah, that's my like minor spiel on Mercedes. I like her personality a lot, but like speedrunning has really soured my opinion on her, and I don't like it because I like her character, but like, ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Why Mercedes? All right, this is the last map in the run. We move Sylvain to this tile, and that's it. And we also have a broken Amir. So that means no Raging Storm uses, but we can repair it. So we'll go to the marketplace, Blacksmith, repair, Edelgard, Amir, and repair it. Oh, cool. We have 5 Raging Storms again. This is the last map in the game. We're using all 5 of them on this map. So yeah. All right, so our goal is to kill this giant dragon with 4 health bars. She's beefy. She's very strong. She takes half damage from a lot of stuff. She will always counterattack you. She's kind of scary. And she has 4 health bars. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna stride everyone, as the usual. We'll move Edelgard up to here. Sylvain will go ahead and dance for Edelgard. Edelgard will move all the way up and use the Amir on this Raging Storm on this Pegasus Knight. If she crits, I'm gonna feel so sorry for this Pegasus Knight. Okay. You want to keep an eye on your stats because, again, you need 23 speed to quadruple attack this boss on its last 2 health bars. That's a very important benchmark. We are very blessed on speed in this run, so like, we don't have to worry about it. But like, will be a lot of times where like he'll be a little bit short and like you just can't quadruple attack the boss. And if that happens, you grind for experience, you exit the stage, you come back and you do it again, and just hope for the best. All right, so we can move again. And we will go to this tile, we will dismount, and then attack, and Raging Storm. The reason we dismount is because like every time you get prompted to move again as a mounted unit, that wastes time. And you kind of don't want that when we're just going to stay stationary. So we're actually going to dismount her to avoid that. All right, so we have 4 Raging Storm uses left. We'll destroy this barrier with a Raging Storm. Boop. Do it again. Raging Storm. Boop. 1 health bar down. Raging Storm again. Boop. Raging Storm again. Boop. 2 health bars down. 2 to go. And this is where you need to make sure you hit the speed check. So if you're at exactly 23 speed, you need to remount and attack with the Brave Axe. Because mounting gives you +2 speed. So whereas if you're at 20, so if you want to, the 23 speed is the minimum to quadruple while mounted. But if you have at least 25 speed, then you can stay dismounted and then just keep wailing on her, which is faster because again, staying dismounted is just faster. So quadruple her. Boom. Boop. All right. Oh, she's out of moves. All right. Well, end turn. All right. Well, nothing else of interest is going to happen, so we're just going to skip everything. And Sylvain will probably die. Yep, he died. All right. And that's the last health bar. GG. That's the end of the run. Timing ends on the fade out after the stage completes. So we were to time this. Time will be now. So that's Crimson. That's how to speedrun Crimson Flower. I hope you learned a lot from watching this. And if you are interested in learning how to speedrun the game, we do have a Discord, which you can find on the speedrun.com page. So definitely feel free to join that. We also have a text guide because like if you just watch a run, like you're not gonna learn everything like the backup strats, benchmarks, and stuff like that from watching a run. So like the guide all has like a lot of that information. Like, oh, if you have this benchmark, do this backup, and so on. So you can find all the guide on speedrun.com as well. And the Fire Emblem Speedrunning Discord is a Discord for all of the mainline Fire Emblem speedruns. So if you're interested in speedrunning the other Fire Emblem Fire Emblem games, then you can also use the same Discord there. So, yep, that's GG, and you get to see this pretty badass ending. The other routes are also really fun. I do believe this is probably the easiest route to learn because it's the most reliable in terms of luck alongside the Blue Lions, but it's also simpler than the Blue Lions route. And also shorter. The shortness is just nice. So.
Is it?
Yep. Anything else to say, Church and Sarge?
Well, I guess. Do you have anything else, maybe about the run or anything like that, or?
I guess I'll just mention that there's a lot of stuff that I went over. It's a complicated run, but also a very scripted run at the same time. But like everyone also starts somewhere. Like if you're one of those people who are like, oh, I'm terrible at Fire Emblem, I have to rely on casual mode or stuff like that. That's okay. Everyone starts somewhere, and that's what the Discord is for. That's what the guide is for. Everyone starts somewhere. You just heard me talk about how I never have speedrun a Fire Emblem game until like 2012, 2013, and look where I am now. Everyone starts somewhere, whether you're someone who plays this on the hardest difficulty, or if you just are like super casual and play the games very casually, that's okay. Speedrun is open for everyone, as long as you're open and willing to learn and spend time with it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, the game looks like you said, pretty scripted. It looks like something that would be pretty easy to pick up. You know, if you have a little bit of experience in this kind of game, or if you've played the game casually, it's something you could pick up pretty easily. It'll take a little bit of time to get like everything down, but it's not super complicated.
Yeah, like there's kind of a lack of variance in a sense in terms of like the strat you do.
Yeah,
like there's stat variance and luck variance, sure, but like with like 2 or 3 exceptions, the maps are pretty scripted for the most part, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, you did a very good job teaching, so thank you so much. Do you have, not specifically related to Fire Emblem, do you just have like any tips in general about getting into speedrunning?
Well, before I talk about that, I'd also want to thank Church and Sarge for having me on this show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
I was like, I don't know what game to offer, because I mean, I also run like the Sonic Advance series, but those are all way too short for this kind of thing, honestly. Like, because they're like 20 minutes runs.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing I will say is that like kind of Fire Emblem speedrun specific, but like the game looks really complicated, but just as with any other speed game, all it takes is time and practice. Like
Yeah.
just like any speedrun, a platformer or anything in between. Like learning Fire Emblem speedruns, learning where all the menus are, getting good at executing it, learning all the backup strats, or just ingraining that in your muscle memory is no different than like ingraining like platforming stuff in your muscle memory. All it takes is time and patience. And like if you're one of those people who don't want to put in as much time or patience, that's also okay. Like speedrunning is kind of what you make it out to be. And if you want to like take it super seriously like I do, then that's also okay. If you want to just beat it under 2 hours and just be like, hey, haha, I beat this in 2 hours and brag to your friends, that's also okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of the general speedrunning advice I have. Like, all it takes is time and practice. Like, everyone starts somewhere. I did not know how to like menu at all in like my first runs in Fire Emblem overall. Like, yeah. It just takes time and then an experience.
Takes time, and exactly. Like the more you do it, the more you'll get better at it. So just keep at it, and eventually you'll improve. So you did a very good job explaining. So I don't really have any other questions about the game or anything like that. Thank you so much for being on the show. You're very passionate about this game. You explained everything very well.
I love this game.
I love having runners who are just very passionate about their games on the show because we're all here because we love gaming and we love the games we play. So it's awesome to be able to have other people who are as enthusiastic about their games on here to show to share our passion for speedrunning. So thank you so much for being able to be here.
Thank you.
And showing off this game. If you have any final thoughts on anything, feel free.
So one thing I'll mention, RPG Limit Break is coming up, and Church and Sarge will be there too, I think.
Nope.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, can't make all of them.
Richard will be there.
Yeah, Richard will be there. But yeah, so I'm actually running this game as a race against Aeon Frodo in RPG Limit Break. It's the third to last run just before Ecchi and Kizaran's Sword and Shield race, and it's going to be a bid war between the three main houses, Crimson Flower, Black Eagles, Blue Lions, and Golden Deer. Aeon Frodo is another very good runner. She has like a third or fourth place time in two of the routes, and she has a better time than me in Verdant Wind, Golden Deer. So, and we both offered a race, and it's going to be a 3 bid war. We are both hoping for Blue Lions because Claris and I did a SGDQ race last year for the Black Eagles race. And then the year before that, Claris did a solo run for the Golden Deer routes for AGDQ with Joe Zija on call, which is the voice actor of Claude, FYI. So I highly recommend checking those runs out. But we also want to really showcase Blue Lions because it's never been done in an in-person marathon. And hear me out. To do that giant tank that we just took out, that physical tank, the Blue Lion speedrun makes him a magic user. I am not memeing. It is a speedrun strat. We make him a magic user. If you want to see how, to donate for Blue Lions for RPG Limit Break.
That's fantastic.
or alternatively, you can also hit the follow button on my Twitch channel because I've been streaming speedruns of this game almost every day to prep for RPG Limit Break. So you'll probably see that on my stream. I also stream randomizers of various like Metroid and Zelda games too sometimes, and speedrun some Sonic games. So if you're also into that, feel free to hit the follow button. But what else? I do also want to give a shout out to the Fire Emblem speedrunning community. There aren't too many of us, but I definitely want to give a shout out to Aeon Frodo and Tasmania Jones and Claris, who put in a lot of work into like rounding this game, pushing each other. And most recently, a lot of strat changes have actually been made this past month thanks to Tasmania Jones. So shout outs to him specifically. And a lot of the route that you see is built upon Claris's work. So the run wouldn't have been what you've seen it, or you know what I'm trying to say. It wouldn't be what it is today if it weren't for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's about it I have. So thank you very much for having me over. Hope you all enjoyed it, and maybe some of you will go back and watch this and step through it yourself. That's what this is for. Or you learn something, and that's also cool too.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you just, you don't think you'll go far in running, but you're kind of interested in it, you can always drop in the community and say hi. Just if you're interested, the community is very welcoming. So you just pop in, talk, see what you can learn, see what you can do. If it doesn't stick with you, that's fine.
Yep.
But that's all I've got. So again, thank you so much, Kirby. This was an absolutely fantastic tutorial. We do not have another run after this, another show. So we'll do just a few quick reminders. Your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bitch cheered on the GDQ channel help support Games Done Quick, both with the hotfix and with the AGDQ 2023 costs. So please consider subscribing if you're enjoying the daily content. If you liked the first step before, if you liked this tutorial and you want to see more tutorials for different games, and we have like 20 other shows. So if you enjoy any of that, please feel free to support us. And if you're over on YouTube watching, you go to twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick to watch all of our content live. Usually starts at about 7 p.m. Eastern and on the weekdays, and 1 p.m. Eastern on the weekends. With that being said, that is all for tonight. We are going to go for a quick break while we look for a raid target. So if you wouldn't mind just sticking around so we can cheer on another speedrunner doing some speedruns, that would be amazing. Have a great night, everybody.